Chapter 1. Homeward Bound. On a scorching summer day, the air conditioning on the inter-county bus sent shivers down one's spine. The bus driver meandered through the streets, struggling to attract passengers. Only after several turns did he finally depart the city, heading towards the county town. The majestic Qing Mountain loomed ahead, yet Fong Wen, resting his head on his hand, wore a look of melancholy that dulled the joy of returning home. Half an hour later, the bus arrived at the county station, where a tall, burly young man wearing sunglasses awaited. "Xiaowen, over here." The young man removed his sunglasses and tossed a bottle of drink to Fong Wen, inquiring, "Your uncle said you wouldn't return home for the anniversary this year. What made you change your mind? Is Ying Jin not with you? She's busy with work." As he spoke, the young man, Shi Tao, pulled Fong Wen out of the station. "Check out my new ride. What do you think?" Fong Wen glanced at the vehicle, noticing it was an off-road car. A significant upgrade from a motorcycle to an off-road beast. Not bad for impressing the ladies, but with your bulky frame, it might be a bit lacking. At this, Shi Tao donned his sunglasses and retorted, "What kind of talk is that? Your brother, Shi Tao, embodies manliness. Come on, let's grab a bite. I'm not hungry. Let's head home. It's sweltering outside. What's with the long face? Did work not go well? If that's the case, why not quit and join us in the family business? You could share in the profits as a third partner." Shi Tao had grown up with Fong Wen, their bond forged through years of camaraderie. Despite his lackluster academic performance, he had not attended college, but instead spent a few years mingling in the village and county, eventually helping his father establish a thriving agritourism business. After graduating from university, Fong Wen remained in the city where his school was located, securing a job. His return this time was to commemorate his grandfather's 3rd anniversary. "What about your girlfriend? Why isn't she with you?" As they turned onto the road leading into the village, Shi Tao inquired about Zhang Ting. Zhang Ting was Fong Wen's girlfriend. They had started dating towards the end of their sophomore year, with one pursuing further studies and the other entering the workforce after graduation. They had been together for over 4 years, having visited home together for his grandfather's 2nd anniversary, where the family had known of Fong Wen's beautiful partner. "We broke up." "Broke up?" Shi Tao exclaimed, nearly veering the car off the road in surprise. "Watch the road, remember. We're celebrating the anniversary together." "Everything seemed fine. How could you have split?" Shi Tao removed his sunglasses and asked, "You've been together for 4 years, right? Is it really over? Was it the dowry issue? I can help, just say the word, and I'd sell everything to ensure you bring her home." "Selling everything isn't necessary," Fong Wen replied lightly, though his heart was torn apart inside. He and Zhang Ting had shared over 4 years filled with tender moments and heartfelt promises. Alas, the human heart is capricious, and within just over a month after her graduation, she had found someone new. The shift in her affections was palpable to him, as they had once been the closest of companions. After graduating, Zhang Ting had joined a state-owned enterprise in another city, and during her visits home, she had casually mentioned a young colleague who always made her laugh at first. Fong Wen did not pay much attention to it, but gradually he began to sense a feeling of estrangement in the text messages. Terms of endearment such as brother, darling, and husband had vanished without a trace. Suspicious, he traveled to the city where Zhang Ting resided. The scenario was devoid of any melodramatic betrayals or wealthy suitors vying for affection. All that remained was Zhang Ting's simple declaration, "I have fallen for someone else." Fong Wen felt as though he had swallowed a fly, ultimately deciding to let go. The breakup was remarkably subdued. He could not fathom the reason behind it. Perhaps it was the youthful idealism that could not tolerate imperfections, or perhaps it was in defiance of 4 years of love. Upon returning to his work city, Fong Wen was engulfed in sorrow for a time. Unable to dispel the gloom within, he took a week off on the occasion of his grandfather's 3rd anniversary, seeking solace in his hometown. "Hey, there are plenty of fish in the sea." Shi Tao, witnessing his brother's despondent demeanor, took on the role of a counselor. He continued, "Out with the old, in with the new. If Zhang Ting does not appreciate you, then let her go. Just wait. He'll find you a few charming ladies with slender waists and ample curves to bring home and make Annie happy. Enough of your nonsense. Let's not inform my mother about the breakup for now." Fong Wen had returned to find peace and did not wish for his family to know about the split. "Fine. If Annie finds out, she'll surely send a matchmaker your way." As they spoke, the two arrived at the village. Nestled in a valley of the Great Green Mountain, The village comprised clusters of houses scattered across varying elevations, most of which had been replaced with multi-story buildings. In recent years, it had flourished, with cement roads now reaching their doorsteps. Ah, little one is back. Yes, I am back, Aunt Wong. Hurry home, your mother is waiting. Engaging in brief chit-chat with their neighbor, Aunt Wong, Fong Wen stepped into his own yard. Auntie, little one has returned. Back already. Xiao Tao, come inside for some watermelon. Fong Wen's mother emerged from the house, her face lighting up upon seeing her son. I must return to my work. Auntie, please go about your business. We'll have a meal together tonight. All right, take a piece of watermelon before you go. Thank you, Auntie. Shi Tao took a bite of the watermelon and dashed out. Little one, your father has gone to Uncle's house. This year, your grandfather's 3rd anniversary is being held there. Fong Wen's mother remarked, glancing outside to inquire, did Zhang Ting not accompany you back? No, she just started working and is too busy to take leave. That makes sense. She replied, then asked, have you eaten? He'll prepare you something. Not yet, it's too hot to eat. Have some watermelon. First, he'll make you some cold noodles. Watching his mother bustle into the kitchen, Fong Wen felt a pang of bittersweet emotion. A child with a mother is indeed a treasure. After enjoying the cold noodles, he retreated to the inner room and fell into a deep slumber. As the saying goes, joy uplifts the spirit, while worry breeds fatigue. Perhaps home is a sanctuary. He slept soundly until dusk, only to be roused by the sounds of conversation outside. Is little one back? He's sleeping inside. Is everything ready at your uncle's house? Yes, it is. Hearing the commotion, Fong Wen emerged from his bedroom to find his father smoking. Upon seeing his son, Father Fong remarked, didn't you say you weren't coming back? Having been away from home for more than half a year, I decided to return for a visit and requested a week's leave from the company. All right, tomorrow, head to the county early to bring your sister back. We will ride the motorcycle from the Shi family. My sister is coming back too? Aunt Fong interjected, your sister heard about your return and has taken leave as well. Okay, I'll borrow the motorcycle from Shi too shortly. After a brief conversation with his parents, Fong Wen went to lend a hand at Shi Tu's agritourism business. With the summer sun blazing, it was the peak season for agritourism, attracting many city dwellers who brought their families to the Daqing Mountains for some respite from the heat. Fong Wen worked diligently until after 10 o'clock, finally sitting down with Shi Tu at a stone table, where they sampled some appetizers and enjoyed a few drinks. Try this chicken stew with mushrooms, a new dish I just developed. Shi Tu's father, Shi Jiangwo, added another dish for the two young men. Uncle, there's no need to fuss. This is more than enough. Just taste it. I've improved my culinary skills quite a bit lately, and many customers come specifically for this. You've seen the world in the big city. Give me your thoughts. Delicious. Fong Wen was unreserved as he picked up a piece, and as soon as he tasted it, he remarked, your skills, Uncle, are commendable only a notch below those of the chefs in grand restaurants. You rascal. Shi Jiangwo chuckled heartily at the compliment. There are still a few tables of guests, so you two eat up. Keep an eye on Shi Tu, don't let him drink too much. Don't worry, Uncle, Fong Wen assured him, but ironically, he ended up drinking to the point of oblivion. The next day, he awoke to find it was already past 9. Mom, why didn't you wake me? Glancing at the clock, he hurriedly got up to go to the county to fetch his sister. You were completely drunk last night, reeking of alcohol. How could you possibly go pick up your sister? Shi Tu has already left. Rubbing his foggy head, Fong Wen couldn't recall how much he had drunk indeed. His tolerance was quite poor. Xiaowen, do you have something on your mind? No. What could I possibly be troubled about? Fong Wen shook his head. If there's anything, just share it with the family. Don't bottle it up. Hurry and wash up when your sister returns. We will go to your uncle's house together. Oh. After freshening up and sipping some porridge, Shi Tu's voice called from outside. Ingjie, be gentle. Xiao, Ing is back. Aunt Fong observed her daughter tugging at Shi Tu's ear and remarked, let go. He's not a child anymore, yet he still acts so raucously. Mom, this guy deserves a beating for drinking and daring to drive. I only had a little last night. Upon seeing her brother Fong Wen, Fong Ying released her grip, approached, and frowned. You drank too? Oh no. Fong Ying seized Shi Tu's ear again, her expression stern as she scolded. Is it you who has led Xiao Wen astray? It wasn't me. Annie, save me. After a moment of commotion, Shi Tu seized the opportunity to slip away. The siblings exchanged little conversation, tidied up, and then accompanied their mother to their uncle's house. In the previous generation of the Fong family, There were three siblings. Fong's father was the second child, with a younger sister who had married into the county. The eldest and second siblings were both honest and earnest individuals, while their uncle had two daughters, both of whom were already married. In truth, Fong Wen is considered the last scion of the Fong family, with his uncle and aunt treating him quite favorably. His aunt arrived alone, while his uncle, a leader in the county's education bureau, became somewhat disdainful of impoverished relatives after achieving success, often avoiding family matters when possible. The family gathered in the small courtyard of Fong Wen's uncle, where men and women alike ventured to the back mountain to pay their respects to their grandparents. After burning paper money, they set up two tables in the courtyard, engaging in familial conversations. Inevitably, the topic circled back to the matrimonial prospects of Fong Ying and Fong Wen. At 25, Fong Wen was already considered of age, while his elder sister, 2 years his senior, was deemed a leftover woman, making them both targets of familial pressure. Left with no choice, the siblings resorted to tactics to deflect attention from themselves. Xiaowen, there are still several fishing nets left on Dongshan. Go collect them, and see if you've caught any fish or shrimp for your aunt to take home. Upon hearing this, Fong Wen felt as though struck by divine inspiration, promptly leaping to his feet and dashing out the door without a backward glance. "He'll go too," Fong Ying exclaimed. "Sit down." Fong Ying, unable to escape the clutches of her mother, remained and continued to endure the scrutiny. As Fong Wen exited the courtyard, he exhaled deeply, returned home for a bamboo basket, and hastened towards Dongshan. There, a mountain stream awaited him, where he had often accompanied his father to cast nets for fish since childhood. In the flurry of activities surrounding his grandfather's memorial, he had neglected the nets. Arriving at Dongshan, he navigated the familiar creek and skillfully collected the fishing nets, discovering an abundance of shrimp and small fish within. While retrieving the second net, a crab unexpectedly pinched his finger, causing him to shake it vigorously, resulting in a trickle of blood. "What a stroke of ill fortune," he lamented, wiping his finger on his pant leg before emptying the shrimp and crabs into the bamboo basket. To his surprise, he found a peculiar stone, dark and strangely green, nestled among his catch. Curiosity piqued, he casually picked it up and tossed it back into the stream. Unexpectedly, as the stone soared through the air, it emitted a faint purple glow, spinning rapidly before hurtling directly toward his forehead. "What the?" With a startled cry, Fong Wen's vision darkened, and he collapsed to the ground, leaving only the fish and shrimp in the basket to continue their frantic struggles. Chapter 2. The Enlightenment Pearl of the Great Dao. Fong Wen found himself immersed in an extraordinary dream that seemed to transcend the vastness of 1,000,000,000 years. Within this dream, the world was enveloped in a somber haze. An unremarkable stone was swept away by a magnificent surge of purple energy, becoming suffused with a delicate violet luminescence. As time unfolded, it gradually acquired a semblance of consciousness. With the relentless march of time and the transformation of the world, a man who proclaimed himself a Qi refiner chanced upon it. This harbors a trace of the great Tao, capable of enhancing one's intellect and understanding. I shall bestow upon you the name of the Enlightenment Pearl. Thus, the man and the pearl embarked on a journey through the passage of several fleeting centuries, during which the man's hair turned to silver and he aged considerably. Alas, the great Tao remains an enigma. Is there truly a path to immortality? The elderly man sat gravely atop the mountain, contemplating the clouds as they gracefully traversed the sky, reflecting on the cyclical essence of existence. In a fleeting moment of nostalgia, he ascended into a profound stillness. Only the stone pearl lingered, its ethereal glow flickering delicately. Throughout the expansive river of time, its wisdom gradually diminished, concealed within the countless mountains and valleys, adrift in the relentless flow of time. Why did I lose consciousness? I have never been unwell before. This was the voice of his elder sister. "Uncle, perhaps we should take him to the county hospital." This was the voice of Shi Tao. Fong Wen abruptly awakened, his eyes fluttering open to reveal a room crowded with concerned faces, all gazing intently at him. "Xiaowen, do not alarm your mother. Ending your relationship with Zhang Ting is merely that. Tomorrow, I shall arrange for another match for you. Why behave so irrationally?" With tear-filled eyes, Fong Ma regarded her eldest son with deep concern. Fong Wen shot a fierce glare at the meddlesome Shirtao. "Winner, you nearly frightened us to death. Uncle Zhang assured us you were well, yet I feared you had succumbed to the anguish of heartbreak. Auntie speaks wisely. There are myriad fish in the sea. When the old fades, the new shall arrive," Shirtao remarked. Following his words, Fong Ying interjected, "What a disgrace, to be so distraught over a woman. Were one unaware, they might believe you were in mourning. I am not. I was struck by a stone," Fong Wen retorted, rubbing his forehead, feeling no discomfort whatsoever. "Where did it strike? Allow me to see," Fong Ying exclaimed, lifting her younger brother's shirt, eager to investigate. "Hey, what are you doing? Xiaoying, cease your antics," Fang Ma admonished, her heart aching for her son. "Enough." At that moment, Fong Laodao intervened. "Let Fong Wen rest for now. We shall deliberate on this matter outside." Once the others departed from the bedroom, Fong Wen made an effort to eavesdrop on their discourse. "Thank you, Lu Laoge. For what? I have witnessed your growth over the years. Huh, my aging back can still bear some burden, yet I dread that in a few years this may no longer hold true." Fong Wen is well. He appears to be afflicted by an overabundance of concern, a classic case of lovesickness. His second aunt, "It would be wise to seek a suitable companion for the young man, and I believe he shall flourish." Lu Laoge belonged to the same generation as Fong Laodao. After a leisurely post-lunch nap, they took a stroll to the Eastern Mountain, where they discovered Fong Wen collapsed beside a ditch and subsequently carried him back. It was Uncle Zhang, the village's esteemed barefoot doctor renowned for remedying headaches and fevers, who first suggested that excessive worry was the cause of Fong Wen's malaise. Upon hearing Uncle Zhang attribute his condition to lovesickness, Fong Wen could not suppress a smirk as he retrieved a small mirror to inspect his forehead, which bore no signs of injury. He felt quite bewildered. "Second brother, I am returning home. If Xiao Wen experiences any further discomfort, please take him to the county and call me upon your arrival." After a brief exchange, everyone returned to their homes, and Aunt drove back to the county town. "Xiao Wen, do you feel unwell anywhere else?" Once the guests had departed, Mother and Fong Ying entered the bedroom to inquire about his condition. "I'm fine, Mother. It is truly just a stone that struck me." Still obstinate, he insisted. "Why did you part ways with Zhang Ting?" Fong Ying inquired. The relationship had crumbled. "I truly do not suffer from lovesickness." Under the gentle persuasion of his mother and the playful teasing of his sister, Fong Wen fell into silence, feeling a profound sense of helplessness. As tranquility finally enveloped the room, he rested his arm upon his forehead, contemplating the occurrences of the afternoon. It is not akin to casting a stone into the water. How could it possibly alter its course? How peculiar! Unable to fathom the predicament and restless, he withdrew a tome from a pile beside his bed and commenced to explore its pages. The Book of Changes and the Unity of the Three, an heirloom bequeathed by his grandfather. Fong Wen's grandfather was a man who had traversed the bygone era, often regaling the children with tales of his past endeavors. According to his grandfather, he had been apprenticed to a pharmacy in his youth. In the customs of that former society, apprentices were obliged to endure trials before mastering the craft. His grandfather adhered to this tradition, spending over a year in the pharmacy, dutifully serving his master and mistress, enduring menial tasks without acquiring any skills until war erupted. To escape the chaos, he retreated to his hometown, carrying a few books with him, yearning to educate himself in solitude. Yet, in that old society, few possessed the ability to read and write. His grandfather had learned a handful of characters at the pharmacy, primarily the names of medicinal herbs. The text within those volumes was predominantly in classical Chinese, with no mentor to illuminate his path. Realizing the futility of self-education, the elderly man resolved to leave home and enlist in the military. By that time, liberation was approaching. His grandfather served a few years in the army before returning to marry and raise a family. He subsequently ascended to the position of head of the county's armed forces and later returned to his village to serve as the village chief for over a decade. The elder generation harbored little selfishness and left behind scant familial possessions. He ensured that his children found suitable partners. And what remained of his life was an old residence in Xishan and these few cherished books. Fong Wen had previously skimmed through the Book of Changes and the Unity of the Three, which did not appear to be a medical text, and was composed in an arcane manner that he found perplexing. Within it lay principles to nourish one's self, tranquility, and emptiness. The source is concealed yet luminous, internally reflecting one's essence, sealing its apertures, solidifying the spiritual pearl. The three lights converge, nurturing the child pearl, invisible to the eye, yet easily sought. After perusing several passages, Fong suddenly felt a profound resonance, his consciousness drawn into an ethereal realm. The dream he had, while slumbering, materialized before him. Astonishing! The spirit pearl indeed exists. His mind quivered, and after a prolonged period of self-reassurance, he finally perceived that the space was shrouded in a veil of mist. Within this vision, the expanse resembled the dimensions of a sports field, featuring a rock formation akin to a diminutive mountain at its core, beneath which lay a small pool of water, crystalline and transparent. Above, stalactites dripped water, gradually forming droplets that cascaded into the spring below. Apart from these elements, there was naught else. In this ethereal state, Fong grasped that the spirit pearl had attained a semblance of consciousness, albeit it had since dissipated. He recalled the resplendent purple light emanating from a black stone in Dongshan, which appeared to have fused with his brow. Enlightenment of the great path, Fong murmured softly, sensing a profound connection, and withdrew his consciousness from the ethereal realm, taking up the Book of Changes and the unity of the three to engage in its pages with unwavering attention. At the genesis of yin and yang, the enigmatic essence harbors the nascent yellow sprouts. Beneath lies the solar energy, rising in an instant. Initially liquid, it then solidifies, earning the title of the Yellow Chariot. Suddenly, he discovered his ability to grasp these arcane words. Fong, rise for breakfast. Cease your pretense of slumber. At that moment, the voice of his sister, Fong Ying, resonated from the living room. Oh, understood. He carefully set aside the book, feeling rejuvenated as he entered the living room, where an opulent spread of dishes awaited him on the table. Xiao, indulge yourself. During the meal, Fong Ma devoted her attention to serving her son, while the family tactfully refrained from probing into Zhang Ting's circumstances. Dear sister, are you not returning today? Fong Ying cast a fleeting glance at him, expressing her concern. I must keep a watchful eye on my unfortunate brother. What if he succumbs to despair? Xiaoying, cease your nonsensical chatter. Fong Ma admonished her daughter with a fierce glare. At that moment, Fong Laodad interjected, Zhang Ting is indeed a commendable young woman. It is regrettable that their relationship has ended. However, if fate does not align, one cannot impose it. A true gentleman must possess the wisdom to both embrace and relinquish. Fong opted not to linger on the subject of the stone and remarked, I do not suffer from lovesickness, nor have I been incapacitated. My fainting was likely a result of heat stroke. Pay no heed to Shi Tao's ramblings. Really, not at all? Fong Ying inquired, her curiosity piqued. Not in the slightest, Fong retorted, casting a sidelong glance at his sister. I have been a university graduate for 3 years. Why have you yet to find a partner or contemplate marriage? Mind your own affairs. With that, the family's attention pivoted back to Fong Ying. I am satiated. I shall be heading to Uncle Shi's to lend a hand. I shall accompany you. The siblings set down their bowls and swiftly dashed out of the house. Fong Ying lingered at home for an additional day, and on the morning of the third day, she had her brother escort her to the county town, from where she took a bus back to the city for work. Fong still had a few days of holiday remaining, so he remained in his room, engrossed in the Zhou, Eek, and Tong Chi. He discovered that the water in the puddles surrounding him seemed to harbor the legendary spiritual essence. A mere sip would elevate one's spirit. And over the course of several days, he began to feel a peculiar energy coursing through his body. Fong was elated, realizing he had stumbled upon remarkable fortune. Oh dear, Xiao has been sequestered in his room for days, immersed in his grandfather's antiquated tomes, occasionally laughing to himself. I hope nothing amiss transpires. Let him be. He is no longer a child. Fong Laodad puffed on a cigarette, a trace of disappointment evident in his tone. Alas, tomorrow, I shall seek out Sister Lu to inquire if there are any suitable young ladies for Xiaowen. Chapter 3. The old house in Xishan in the blink of an eye. The holiday had drawn to a close. and Fong Wen commenced his return journey on a long-distance bus. Fong Wen, is everything proceeding smoothly? Are you genuinely resigning? Upon his arrival at the workplace, he presented his resignation letter to the manager. Despite offering a few gentle words of persuasion, ultimately accepted it and forwarded it to the HR department. The HR manager inquired about the circumstances, and upon recognizing Fong Wen's resolute desire to depart, elucidated the company regulations. After a month's salary was deducted, he was granted a seamless release. In this ever-evolving landscape, Fong Wen returned to his modest rented room and reached out to his landlord regarding the termination of his lease. "Oh dear, Xiao Fong, why are you rescinding your lease when everything seems to be going so well? Let me clarify. A month's notice is required." Fong Wen, wishing to avoid a conflict with the landlord, resolved to regard the deposit as equivalent to half a month's rent and intended to finalize all matters prior to vacating the premises. As a young individual, there was little to organize in his room. His sole valuable possession was a computer, accompanied by a few small appliances, all of which he sold on a second-hand trading platform. After wandering through S-City for 4 or 5 days, Fong Wen visited the largest bookstore in search of Taoist literature, ultimately discovering only the renowned Tao Te Ching and a copy of the Huang Ting Jing. "Andy, I have organized everything. If you are available tomorrow, I will return the keys. I will have time. I shall come by in the morning to collect them." Having made arrangements with the landlord, Fong Wen returned to the school where he had spent 4 formative years. Observing the exuberant vitality of the younger students, he genuinely grasped the essence of the adage, "The more things change, the more they remain the same." He subsequently visited the riverside, a location he had traversed innumerable times in the company of friends. As he beheld the majestic river flowing into the sea, a wave of inspiration surged within him, rising to the pinnacle of his mind and resting gently upon his brow, bestowing upon him a profound sense of clarity and serenity. Refreshing. With a flicker of resolve illuminating his gaze, Fong Wen inhaled deeply, surveying the unyielding river before he pivoted and strode away with intention. The subsequent day, he gathered his possessions and returned the keys to his landlord, embarking on his journey home with minimal baggage. Despite having devoted over a year to the company, his relationships were largely superficial, comprised mainly of acquaintances forged during nights of revelry. Following graduation, his university peers had all pursued their distinct paths, while his closest roommate had returned to their hometown, leaving no enduring ties in S-City. Xiao Wen, while sorting through an array of goods, Fong's mother was taken aback to find her son, who had departed merely a week prior, standing at the threshold. "Mom, I have resigned from my position and wish to spend a few days at home." Fong Wen beamed. "You didn't even utter a word before returning," Fong's mother remarked, rising to assist with his luggage. "Quitting is acceptable. You may rest at home for a time." "And Dad?" "Your father attended a meeting at the village committee." Fong's father, a modest official overseeing sanitation in the village, earned a humble monthly salary. During his free time, he would gather mountain produce to enhance the family's income. Despite their modest means, he had successfully raised 2 university students, making him a somewhat esteemed figure in the village. However, Fong Wen had not disclosed his resignation to his family, and upon his father's return, he was filled with anger. Fortunately, Fong's mother was able to soothe him. "It is for the best. After the new year, you can seek employment in the city and look after your sister." Fong's father was troubled by his son's unilateral decision, yet he had long nurtured the hope that Fong would return home, convinced that there was no place like home compared to life beyond its confines. "Xiao Wen, what would you like to eat? Mother will prepare it for you." Ever since her son had previously fainted, Fong's mother had been consumed by anxiety for his well-being. Now that he had returned, her heart was heavy with concern. "I'm not hungry. I shall go to Uncle Shi's residence to lend a hand." "Very well. Just be sure not to overexert yourself." As night descended, Fong Wen sat at a stone table with Shi Tao, savoring the refreshing mountain breeze. "Xiao Wen, have you truly resigned?" "Indeed, I have. I was feeling utterly fatigued and yearned for a respite." Shi Tao lifted his glass and took a hearty gulp, proclaiming, "Then come and work alongside me. Do you recall my proposal for you to become the 3rd boss? Contemplate it. We can prosper together as brothers." "Very well. I shall be counting on you." "Shi Tao, what are you saying? Come now, let us drink." The act of resigning and returning home stirred little disturbance. For a time, Fong Wen occupied his days within his chamber, immersing himself in Taoist literature, while his evenings were devoted to assisting at Shi Tao's abode. However, a source of annoyance emerged from his mother, who had enlisted the services of numerous matchmakers and often visited to discuss potential suitors. Despite his vexation, Fong Wen found himself unable to resist her efforts. "Mother, I wish to remain in Xishan for a few days." "Xishan?" His mother halted, taken aback. "Your grandfather's old residence has not been maintained for ages. How can it possibly be habitable? With a little tidying up, it will suffice. I simply desire some tranquility. Please refrain from sending matchmakers. I would prefer to concentrate on securing employment first." "Oh dear, my child," believing that her son still harbored feelings for Zhang Ting. His mother reluctantly acquiesced to his desires. Fong Wen's father spoke little, and together they restored the old residence at Xishan, facilitating Fong Wen's relocation. In days of yore, families nestled in the mountains wherever space permitted. Grandfather's ancestral home perched midway up Xishan, reachable by a narrow path. Nearby stood another forsaken abode, long abandoned to the ravages of time. During his lifetime, grandfather diligently tended the garden, nurturing a variety of fruits and vegetables. Now, after 3 years of neglect, it had succumbed to disrepair. The stone edifice, comprising 3 rooms, had been electrified some time ago, casting light in the darkness of night. In the yard, a jujube tree flourished, heavy with fruit, yet regrettably, the jujubes lacked flavor, leading the family to overlook them. In his youth, Fong Wen had called this place home. Familiar with the terrain, he prepared the bed and settled in for the night. Opening the Huang Ting Jing, he recited its verses in the serene stillness of the night. Above are the spirits, below the source. To the left is Shaoyang, to the right is Tying. Behind lies the secret door. In front is the entrance to life. The sun rises and the moon sets, inhaling and exhaling. In the subsequent days, aside from meals and occasional help at a farm stay, Fong Wen devoted the remainder of his time to the ancient residence in Xishan. Indeed, numerous facets remain shrouded in mystery. One evening, roused from his meditative state, he whispered to himself, and then opened the Zhou, Ikan Tongqi, and the Huang Ting Jing. "I ought to acquire additional Taoist texts." Shaking his head, he retrieved his phone and commenced browsing on a particular online marketplace. To my utter astonishment, numerous Taoist scriptures were accessible online, and upon uncovering a distinguished shop, he delved deeper, only to discover that the entire collection of Daozong was priced at over 30,000. The outrageous expense nearly disrupted Fong Wen's equanimity. Despite having labored for 3 years, his excursions with Zhang Ting had depleted his savings. At present, his bank account contained less than 10,000, scarcely sufficient for a mere fraction of the Zheng Tong Daozong. Finance, companionship, law, and land. Indeed, there appears to be a kernel of truth in this. Fong Wen briefly furrowed his brow. Concerning the law, he believed he could gradually grasp its intricacies through the illumination bestowed by the Pearl of Enlightenment. However, when it came to financial matters, he encountered no immediate remedy. It was scarcely practical to solicit assistance from his parents. Observing the moonlight waltzing upon the jujube tree outside, he rose, ladled a measure of water from the tank, and retrieved a small quantity of spiritual spring water from a space. After amalgamating the two, he poured the mixture at the base of the jujube tree. "Your fortune depends upon you." Fong Wen gently patted the trunk, took a sip of the spiritual spring water himself, and subsequently purchased a few modest Taoist texts, such as Tai Yijin Hua Zong Ji, online before settling down to meditate once more. Xiao Wen, elder sister, what brings you here? I heard that my dear brother, heartbroken, has resigned and returned home to enlighten you." Fong Ying hurried into the hall, breathless, and took a sip from a ladle of water. What are you doing with these? Planning to become a nun?" She picked up the Taoist scriptures resting on the table, leafed through a few pages, and gazed at her younger brother with wide eyes. "Become a nun? I'm merely browsing," Fong Wen retorted, yanking the book back. "Don't attempt to enlighten me. First, enlighten yourself and find a suitable husband." Such audacity. After graduating from university, Fong Ying secured a position at the City Planning Bureau, attracting numerous suitors. However, due to the family's financial strain and Fong, when just beginning his college journey, she devoted her salary to household expenses, giving little thought to starting her own family. As her brother graduated, Fong Ying found herself mired in indecision, having yet to encounter a worthy match, which only prolonged her delay. It's time for dinner. Mom asked me to call you. Let us go. Sister, do partake in this jujube. Fong Wen plucked a verdant jujube from the tree and extended it towards Fong Ying. It is not yet ripe. It is not as though I have never tasted it before. Why would I wish to consume this? Just give it a try. Fong Wen wiped it against his sleeve and insistently proffered it towards his sister's lips. Fong Ying took a bite, pleasantly astonished to discover that it was not the tartness she had anticipated, but rather crisp and invigorating with a subtle sweetness. How has this jujube become so delightful? Chapter 4. The Commerce of Jujubes. The siblings laughed and frolicked as they made their way home, where dinner had already been prepared. Xiao Wen, Uncle Shi visited this morning. He mentioned that his niece in the city is of your age and inquired if you would like to meet her. Fong Ma was chiefly concerned with her children's future, seizing every opportunity to play matchmaker. Mother, if Fong Wen were to become a nun, the Fong lineage would perish. Cease this nonsensical chatter. Fong Ma cast a stern gaze upon her eldest daughter. And you, cease your jesting. When a potential suitor is presented, ensure that you engage with them. We seek not riches, but rather a kind-hearted individual will suffice. Is that understood? Meanwhile, Fong Lao Yi, exhaling tendrils of smoke from his cigarette, regarded his two offspring with a lingering sense of exasperation. Why was it so arduous for them to discover love at this stage in their lives? After the weekend, Fong Ying returned to the city, while Fong Wen remained in the ancestral home, immersed in contemplation and the study of Taoist texts. As summer gracefully transitioned into autumn, the foliage turned to shades of yellow, and the mountains were set ablaze with vibrant hues of red. The jujubes in the courtyard had now ripened. Fong Wen had savored their sweetness long ago. Their delightful flavor invigorated the spirit and sharpened the intellect. He gathered a sackful, borrowed a motorcycle, along with plastic bags and an ancient scale, reserving some for his family and Shirtao before hastily making his way to the county town. Upon reaching the market entrance, he found a suitable spot to establish his stall, positioning a cardboard sign that proclaimed 100 yuan per pound. Fong Wen estimated that, due to the nourishing spring, the jujubes were large and plump, anticipating a harvest of around 300 pounds. At 100 yuan per pound, this would undoubtedly cover his literary expenses. Hey, young man, are you attempting to extort us? Why are these jujubes so exorbitantly priced? An elderly woman, upon encountering the cost, gasped in astonishment and scurried away as if escaping a contagion. By mid-morning, Fong Wen's stall had yet to attract a single customer. The throng of senior citizens merely cast fleeting glances, with some whispering about Fong Wen's fixation on wealth, while others openly deemed him deranged. Brother, what manner of jujube are you peddling at 100 yuan per pound? A middle-aged man queried as he approached the stall around noon. In that moment, Fong Wen felt a twinge of despondency and pondered the possibility of reducing his prices, or perhaps venturing into the city in search of greater fortune. When asked about the price, he nonchalantly responded, "These are spirit jujubes, a newly cultivated variety renowned for promoting longevity and invigorating the mind." Is that so? Longevity, you say? May I sample one? If it is as extraordinary as you assert, I shall procure 2 pounds. Fong Wen scrutinized the man, discerning he did not strike her as someone in pursuit of handouts, and offered him a piece of fruit. The man accepted it, delicately wiped it with a tissue, and savored it, his eyes instantly illuminating with delight. Wow, this is exquisite. Brother, are all of them of such quality? Sensing a promising sale, Fong Wen confidently replied, "Fear not, they all hail from the same tree. I shall take 2 pounds. No, make that 3. The man finalized the transaction and joyfully departed with the jujubes. Young man, I would like a pound as well. It took you quite some time to get started. Allow this old man to relish the flavor of these 100 yuan jujubes. In a modest county town, there are invariably a few prosperous individuals. Following the initial sales, Fong Wen succeeded in selling an additional 5 or 6 pounds. Checking his phone, he observed that it was past 11, and as he prepared to head to a nearby restaurant for lunch, he noticed the earlier customer returning with a woman. "This is the place," exclaimed the man. "Brother, this is my colleague. She wishes to purchase a few pounds as well. I shall take the remainder. I will acquire 10 pounds. The woman pondered momentarily before making her decision and had 10 pounds weighed out. The man then purchased the remaining stock, shouldering the bags, and before departing, he inquired, "Brother, do you have any more of these jujubes? I would like to buy some as gifts." "None left today. Perhaps tomorrow," came a reply. "Very well. I shall return tomorrow." After the man left, the elderly gentleman who had sampled the jujubes approached. "Young man, where are the jujubes? Give me another 20 pounds. "Apologies, sir, they're sold out. Please return tomorrow." The old man clicked his tongue in regret, lamenting, "Had I known, I would have purchased more." "Young man, throughout my life, I have encountered numerous exquisite delights, yet these jujubes are truly remarkable. They are a veritable treat for the senses." "Very well, my good sir. I shall return at 9 tomorrow to reserve some for you." "Splendid." With that, Fong Wen diligently gathered his wares and rode his motorcycle back to the village. That evening, Shirt 2 inquired, "Xiao Wen, whence did you procure these jujubes?" "They are utterly delectable. From my grandfather's courtyard." Shirt 2 appeared doubtful. "That ungraceful jujube tree?" "Indeed, I have reserved it for myself. It bears fruit sparingly." "Truly from that tree?" "Without a doubt. Were it not for my need to earn money for books." Fong Wen would have simply kept the jujubes for his family. The following day, he filled a sack and ventured to the county market once more. The elderly gentleman awaited him there, accompanied by 2 other distinguished elders. "Ha! Old Chun, the jujube vendor has arrived." As soon as Fong Wen parked his motorcycle, 3 elderly gentlemen encircled him. "Young man, do not trouble yourself with setting up your stall. We shall gladly relieve you of this bag of dates." "That sounds splendid," Fong Wen exclaimed, his spirits lifted as he retrieved the scale. However, before he could portion the dates into 3 equal shares, the man from the previous day hurried over. "Brother, I would like to purchase an additional 50 pounds. The 3 elderly men immediately exhibited their displeasure. "You youngsters ought to grasp the principle of first come, first served. I have been waiting all this time, and you dare to interject?" Observing the imposing demeanor of the 3 old men, the man squinted and offered a smile. "Uncle, I implore you to assist me. I am acquiring these for my supervisor. I beg for your understanding." "Not a chance," retorted the elderly gentleman, surnamed Chun, as he brandished a substantial bundle of cash. "Young man, count it." Fong Wen meticulously counted the money, concluding the transaction. The 3 elderly gentlemen departed, joyfully cradling their dates as though they were precious treasures. "Brother, is there any left? We had an agreement yesterday." Observing the reluctance of the 3 men to part with their dates, the man turned to Fong Wen, his eyes brimming with yearning. "The leadership in my unit wishes to purchase some as well. I am on a mission. I beseech you to assist me." Fong Wen merely shrugged. "Everything is sold out. Return tomorrow." At that moment, several customers from the previous day reappeared, clamoring for dates. Ultimately, upon realizing that none were available, they voiced their disappointment and resolved to return the following day. Once the crowd had dispersed, the man lingered, biting his lip as he approached Fong Wen. "Brother, it's merely 10 o'clock. I will pay you 150 per pound. Please assist me and procure some more." 150, you say? How much do you desire?" 50 pounds. "No, let be 100. "Very well, 100 pounds. It will amount to 15,000. Prepare the funds." Whether the man was presenting gifts or merely indulging his own whims, Fong Wen, perceiving the man's hesitation, resolved to establish unequivocal expectations. With the 15,000 secured, he would possess ample resources for his literary acquisitions. The 2 concurred on a time, and Fong Wen hastened back to the mountain village on his motorcycle, successfully selling a tree laden with dates by noon. "Brother, kindly leave me your number," the man requested after finalizing the payment. "Brother, all the dates have been sold out. The next batch will not be available until next year." "Very well. Please ensure to reserve 100 pounds for me next year." Following the exchange of contact information, Fong Wen nonchalantly seized a bite to eat by the roadside and hurriedly procured the Daozong. Chapter 5. Cultivating Qi into Spirit. The Daozong arrived in the village 4 days later. "Xiao Wen, why did you acquire so many Taoist texts?" Old Father Fong surveyed the two substantial piles of books within the room, perplexed as he turned to his son. He had received the parcel during his duties at the village committee, and upon unwrapping it, he encountered a collection of inscrutable Taoist texts, many embellished with peculiar symbols. Your sister mentioned your aspiration to become a monk. Shaowen, you cannot be serious. Mother Fong exclaimed, her expression fraught with worry. Become a monk? I have not renounced the world. I merely seek solace in the mountains and wish to peruse some books to occupy my time. Mother, please do not overthink this. Fong Wen casually concocted an excuse to allay their concerns. After lunch, he lifted the 2 stacks of books and proceeded to the old house on West Mountain. The Dao Zong comprises 60 volumes, brimming with intricate and profound content. Fortuitously, Fong would have been graced with good fortune, settling into the venerable abode and embracing the scholarly life. He remained uncertain of the true depth of his cultivation, relying solely on his innate comprehension and the spiritual essence permeating the air, diligently nurturing his spirit and refining his breath each day. On this particular night, Fong Wen returned from the countryside, taking a seat upon a stone bench in the courtyard, sipping the essence of the spiritual spring while gazing at the multitude of stars above. Suddenly, a wave of enlightenment enveloped him, and he felt a radiant brilliance emanate from the center of his brow, filling his soul with an ethereal lightness. He lingered in a daze for a considerable time, and when he finally opened his eyes, he beheld the enchanting aura of the surrounding mountains. Overwhelmed by this plethora of phenomena, Fong Wen hastily gathered his thoughts and emerged from his reverie. Have I awakened the celestial eye? He closed his eyes once more, and unexpectedly, he discerned the clarity of his own internal organs. Inner vision? A surge of joy filled Fong Wen's heart. His primordial spirit was genuine, and his spiritual light radiated brilliantly, affirming that he had ascended to the realm of refining qi into spirit. Yet in just 3 brief months, he remained oblivious to the presence of other cultivators in the world, nor did he ascertain whether his achievement in this realm was commendable or not, rapid or gradual. Casting a glance at the time, he realized it was already 1 in the morning. He turned his thoughts inward, entered the house, extinguished the light, and surrendered to slumber. Mother, the spring water my classmate sent claims to be rich in minerals and beneficial for health. You and father should partake of it. The following day, Fong Wen procured a sizable barrel of mineral water from the village supermarket, removed its label, and combined it with a portion of the spiritual spring to create a generous supply, which he then transported home from West Mountain. What spring water? Our mountain water is abundant in minerals. Even Uncle Lu has gallstones. He remarked with a chuckle. My classmate hails from Qinghai, and they claim it is sourced from the snow-capped mountains. It is beneficial for health, and 1 tea lead to stones. Very well, then let it remain here. Upon learning that it was water from the snow mountains, Fong's mother regarded it with newfound reverence, acknowledging that indeed, monks from distant lands recited scriptures. Your classmate has sent water from such a great distance. Let us select some of our mountain produce to send back as a gesture of gratitude. I understand, mother. Fong's mother paused her duties and continued. Winter is on the horizon, and many visitors are arriving to revel in the autumn splendor of the mountains. Ensure that you come down early to assist the Stone family. Furthermore, she remarked, Uncle Zhang's dog has recently given birth to puppies. He inquired whether we would like to adopt one. Your father instructed me to consult you on this matter. Contemplating for a moment, Fong Wen replied, let us adopt one and keep it at the old house. Very well. Once the puppies are weaned, your father will bring one back. After dinner, Fong Wen did not return to West Mountain. Instead, he took a brief respite in the inner chamber before making his way to the Shi family. The scenery of Daqingshan was enchanting, and the local government was fervently engaged in extensive development. The neighboring Dongtuan village, with its prime location, was abuzz with construction. Life in these mountainous households had transformed from the impoverished existence of yore. The influx of tourists had significantly enhanced their livelihoods. Upon his arrival at the Shi residence, he discovered weary guests gathered together, leisurely admiring the picturesque landscape. Shaowen, endure for just a few more days. Once this hectic period concludes, I shall reward you. At that moment, Shi Jiangwo, donned in an apron, was bustling about the kitchen alongside several local workers he had employed. Shi Tao's mother had departed with a man from another region during her youth, leaving the father and son to rely on one another, yet they flourished in their endeavors. Vinaya, once this tumultuous period subsides, I shall escort you to the county town for some merriment. Do not merely languish in West Mountain, engrossed in those worn tomes. I shall introduce you to several young ladies to alleviate your aunt's concerns. Attend to your duties, Fong Wen exclaimed, tossing a radish towards Shi Tao, who was diligently chopping vegetables. Xia Yi, you ought to seek a partner forthwith. You have no inkling of the daily anxieties plaguing second aunt. A girl of 17 or 18 leaned against the doorframe, addressing him. She was Shi Tao's cousin, a straightforward girl who had abandoned her studies in junior high to labor in the city. Subsequently, when her uncle established a farmhouse, she was summoned back to lend her assistance. The young lady had not made significant academic strides, but possessed a fair amount of knowledge regarding dubious matters. Fong Wen regarded the plump Shi Xiaofang and jested, Shi Tao, you should curtail Xiaofang's meals. Observe her, she is on the verge of blossoming. How will she attract a suitor at this rate? That's rather unkind. Shi Xiaofang stamped her foot in frustration and swiftly departed to attend to the guests. As twilight descended, the farmhouse thrived with activity, and Fong Wen diligently served dishes from a grand platter, wholly immersed in his task. Pardon me, may I inquire about something? In a private room, 6 patrons called out to Fong Wen as he completed his serving. What is it? We've heard rumors of a general's tomb in this vicinity. You're a local, are you not? Is there any veracity to that? Fong Wen hesitated, momentarily taken aback by the reference to a general's tomb. He surveyed the individual who had posed the inquiry, reflecting before he replied. I have heard the elders speak of a general from the Ming dynasty interred in Qing Mountain. Allegedly, he was wrongfully executed, and upon his name being exonerated, the emperor bestowed upon him a golden head, which was subsequently reinterred. However, these are merely stories. I have yet to encounter any tomb around Qing Mountain. I understand. Thank you for the enlightening information. Do not mention it. Savor your meal. Once Fong Wen departed, a middle-aged gentleman adorned with a modest mustache interjected. It appears this is the location. Master Zhou, is there truly a golden head? Another man inquired. Indeed, it is documented in the sect's ancient manuscripts, and it correlates closely with what the waiter just articulated. If we uncover the tomb, the golden head shall be yours. I merely seek the blade contained within. As they continued their repast and discourse, Fong Wen emerged from the secluded chamber, his brow knitted in contemplation. The middle-aged man, sporting a mustache, emanated an aura distinct from the mundane, imbued with a sinister energy that hinted at his potential entanglement in nefarious undertakings. The others, too, exuded a subtle air of malevolence, perhaps embodying the fabled tomb raiders of legend. Having acquired some comprehension of energy through his spiritual insights, Fong Wen discerned that the myriad phenomena of Qing Mountain, despite their eclectic nature, ultimately adhered to the principles of yin and yang, devoid of any vestige of spiritual energy. The essence contained within the Insight Pearl might be a remnant from antiquity or a singular creation of the pearl itself. As a somewhat itinerant Zen practitioner, Fong Wen felt a swell of exhilaration upon realizing he was not solitary in the realm of cultivation. Concurrently, he yearned to sidestep entanglements, opting to maintain a low profile while fulfilling his duties as a server. As for the tales surrounding the golden-headed general, the village elders had merely dismissed them as fanciful tales for children. Yet, it seemed that whispers of veracity might indeed lurk beneath the surface. Perhaps the general's sepulchre lies nestled within that hollow of the East Mountain. Fong Wen contemplated quietly to himself. Chapter 6. The Great Golden Light Incantation, Shi Tao. What transpired with the guests from the Fortune Hall yesterday? Those outsiders? They lingered for a single night and prepared to depart this afternoon. The following day, Fong Wen inquired about the whereabouts of Shi Tao and the others. Upon discovering that they had already taken their leave, he chose to refrain from further inquiry. Time swiftly flowed by, and in the blink of an eye, a fortnight had elapsed. The trees shed their foliage, heralding the onset of winter. Business at the agritourism site had considerably diminished, prompting Fong Ma to express her concern for her son braving the cold in the old house, urging him to return home. I have grown accustomed to it. Simply bring a warm quilt. Fong 1, now brimming with vitality and enthusiasm, discovered that merely 2 or 3 hours of slumber sufficed for his needs, and the biting cold did not dissuade him. He merely carried a warm quilt up the mountain to allay his mother's concerns. During this period, Fong Ma, anxious about disappointing her son, refrained from pursuing the matter further and noted, "The Snow Mountain water sent by your classmates has proven remarkably beneficial. Even my gray hair has regained much of its former hue. They have recently dispatched 2 large barrels, ideal for your sister. I shall venture into the city tomorrow." The spring within Fong Wen's domain scarcely sufficed for a single bowl each day. Nevertheless, Fong Ma took her son's words to heart and began to gather local produce for him to send to his classmates in Qinghai. He felt a deep sense of obligation to comply, as a substantial amount was stored at the ancestral home in Xishan. Fong Ma fretted over her son spending excessive time in Xishan, fearing it might lead to feelings of confinement. She proposed that he visit the city to see his sister, hoping it would offer a refreshing change of scenery. After dinner, Fong Wen reached out to her daughter, shouting, "Tomorrow Xiao Wen will come to the city to visit you. When you find the opportunity, please take him out and procure some new clothes for him. If you require funds, I can send you some." "Understood, mother. I shall ensure that your son is well taken care of." The mother and daughter engaged in a lengthy conversation before bidding farewell. The following day, Fong Wen prepared a substantial bundle of water and various items, requesting Shi Tao to transport them to the county town before embarking on a bus to Peng City. "Sister, this spring water is a gift from my classmate. It is excellent for beauty and health. Consume it generously, and I assure you it will revitalize you." Upon her arrival in the city, Fong Ying seized the midday interlude to escort her brother to her rented apartment. In response to her brother's playful jests, she retorted, "Do you seek a reprimand? I was born radiant, enchanting both the young and the old. You ought to take a nap. After your work, I shall take you shopping. You, a government employee, do not appear to have much to show for your efforts. Why do you seem so preoccupied each day? Take your leave." After a brief and playful exchange, Fong Wen reassured, "Sister, you need not concern yourself with me. This afternoon, I shall embark on my own exploration. Should I encounter a romantic partner, I will promptly inform you, and my younger brother will assess her on your behalf. Now, kindly take your leave." Fong Ying hastily gathered her garments, inadvertently leaving behind a key before departing for work. Fong Wen noted that while his sister's apartment was tastefully adorned, it was rather compact. He carefully concealed the key and stepped outside. After consulting the route on his phone, he rented a bicycle and leisurely pedaled towards the antique street in the East City. In recent days, he had been immersing himself in the Taishang Sandong divine incantation from the 12 volumes of the Taoist canon. The text was primarily composed of elaborate prose. However, through his remarkable insight, Fong Wen had genuinely grasped a form of magical practice known as the Great Golden Light Incantation. After 2 days of diligent practice, he could now effortlessly perform the Great Golden Light Incantation, a notable protective technique. Nevertheless, he lacked a benchmark to assess its effectiveness. All he discerned was an inherent elegance. Today, he ventured to the antique street to procure some vermilion, talisman paper, and various other materials to further his study of talismans and create protective charms for his family. "Do you have brushes and yellow paper for sale?" Upon entering a store that specializes in the sale of calligraphy paper and paintings, I observed a young female attendant and a middle-aged man, presumably the owner, seated at a sturdy wooden table, engrossed in their mobile devices. Noticing the arrival of a customer, the young woman set aside her phone and rose to greet me. Clad in black stockings despite the winter chill, her figure was commendable, though her facial features were rather ordinary. "Hello, handsome. How may I assist you? Feel free to browse. Do you have any brush pens or yellow paper?" "Yellow paper?" The attendant appeared taken aback, while the owner, who had remained seated, glanced over at me and inquired, "What do you need yellow paper for?" "To create talismans." "Oh, so." The young man is interested in crafting talismans and pursuing the Tao. The owner chuckled upon hearing this. "Just a modest hobby. Do you sell it here? If you seek talisman paper, I recommend visiting Su Nbozhi nestled down the alley. They possess precisely what you require." My gratitude was expressed, and I turned towards the passageway. "Humph, quite charming. yet he aspires to be a quack. Upon my departure, the attendant cast a glance at the proprietor before settling beside him once more. Every youthful soul harbors their curiosities. Pay him no heed. This afternoon, there shall be a calligraphy exchange meeting. I shall introduce you to some cultured individuals for further engagement. The proprietor gazed at the attendant's stockings with dubious intent. I harbor no interest. They hold no value for my time, whether you choose to attend or not. The proprietor retrieved a bracelet from a box upon the table, gently taking the attendant's hand to adorn her wrist. Hee. Very well, I shall attend. Meanwhile, I ventured into the alley and soon discerned a shop adorned with the characters Su Nb Ozhi. Within, an elderly male proprietor, attired in casual clothing, was deeply engrossed in examining a bound volume. Ah, young man, what brings you here? Upon noticing my presence, he greeted me with a warm smile. Do you possess talisman paper, brush pens, or ink? I observe an array of antiques displayed throughout the shop and, with casual curiosity, lifted a porcelain vase. This is a Yuan Dynasty blue and white vase. Would you be interested? I can offer it to you at a discounted price of 50,000. Startled, I promptly returned the vase to its rightful place, exclaiming, "Ha! I cannot afford such a price. Do you sell yellow paper here?" Recognizing my pragmatic demeanor, the proprietor responded, "Indeed, we do. How many sheets would you like?" "I shall take 100 sheets. What would be the total?" 100 each, but I shall extend a discount. It will amount to 9,000. I recoiled at the exorbitant price. The proprietor continued, "This talisman paper has been sanctified by revered monks. You, my young friend, evidently possess an innate affinity for the Tao. It shall undoubtedly bestow upon you great fortune. Is it truly so? Monks engage with talismans as well?" I inquired, for the three teachings have always been intertwined. I derided the notion, sensing that the proprietor regarded me as a naive youth lost in fanciful dreams of immortality. I then asked, "Do you have any ordinary talisman paper?" "Indeed, it is 50 cents per sheet." He replied, "Then I shall take 100 sheets. And I also require a complete set of brush pens and ink, but without the blessing." Realizing he could not persuade me otherwise, the proprietor begrudgingly retrieved a stack of yellow paper along with a set of brush pens and ink. "Here you are, $200. Upon recognizing that he was not attempting to deceive me, I probed further. "Do you have any cinnabar?" 50 per gram. "How much do you require?" 10 grams, please." The proprietor smacked his lips and measured out some cinnabar, remarking, "Young man, this substance is highly toxic, so exercise caution." He chuckled, "Just jesting. No need for alarm." Fong Wan, with a hint of reluctance, paid 700 yuan and turned to depart. The owner watched the young man's retreating figure, shaking his head. Ah, the youth, so eager to tread the path of the Tao. How arduous it truly is. The Tao is most profound. At that moment, his phone rang. "Junior brother, in a few days, Daoist Sun from Xianyuan Temple will pay a visit to Yuzhen Temple. Please close Xianbao Studio for a few days and come to assist at the temple." Chapter 7. The protective talismans. Fong Wan, having procured the cinnabar and talisman paper, patiently awaited his elder sister's completion of work. After sharing a meal, he boarded the final bus back to the county, subsequently taking an unlicensed taxi to return home. To create talismans without grasping their essence invites the mockery of spirits, yet to craft them with understanding summons their attention. Fong Wen's knowledge of the arts stemmed solely from self-discovery. Lacking a mentor to guide him through the intricate craft of talisman drawing, he felt utterly adrift. He could only laboriously reflect, immersing himself in Taoist texts, imitating various talisman patterns. Within the Shangqing Yushu Wu Lei Jinwen, he stumbled upon a lightning pattern. Upon drawing it, he sensed a subtle resonance. "Manifest golden light, envelop my being. Come forth." Fong Wan, with a heart brimming with sincerity, diligently practiced the lightning pattern until his hand moved with ease. Upon completing the talisman, he gently touched it with a fingertip, and a radiant golden light instantly enveloped it, swirling and dissipating in a moment. Is it truly this effortless? He gazed at the talisman paper resting upon the table, carefully attuning himself to it, confirming that it indeed possessed a spiritual essence. I didn't even require the cinnabar. Fong Wan rubbed his brow, having devoted countless hours over the past 3 days. Initially, He squandered several sheets of yellow paper before beseeching his father for A4 paper, laboring tirelessly from dawn until dusk, drawing without respite. This particular talisman was merely a practice piece, created without the use of cinnabar, yet it had astonishingly succeeded. Quite remarkable. This lightning motif ought to harmonize with the celestial and terrestrial energies, acting as a conduit for my artistic expressions. Nevertheless, it presents no significant challenge. The spirits neither summoned nor were amused. Fangwen grasped the talisman, scrutinized it intently, and nodded in contentment before folding it into a compact square and placing it aside. Manifest golden light, envelop my essence. Arise. Manifest golden light, envelop my essence. Arise. He picked up the brush and skillfully crafted several additional talismans, feeling increasingly proficient, discarding only one sheet of paper, resulting in a dozen newly created protective talismans. Though slightly fatigued and mentally exhausted, Fangwen carefully stored his brushes and ink, stepped outside to savor the refreshing mountain breeze, and then retired early to his bed. The following morning, he descended the mountain and visited a stall in a nearby village to purchase a few fragrant sachets. After meandering about and observing the repairs being made to the stone path on the mountain, he returned home to dine, placing the protective talismans into a small bag. Mother, the protective talismans I procured from the city the other day, one for you and one for father for your safety. Protective talismans? His mother took them in her hand and remarked, Did you acquire these from Yujin Temple? Indeed, they are nothing but a collection of scams. Last year, your uncle Liu offered incense at Yujin Temple and purchased a talisman. The following day, he tragically fell and fractured his leg while working on the mountain. Do not squander your resources on such trivialities. Fangwen nonchalantly concocted a reply, unaware that his mother would link it to Yujin Temple. Yet he found himself at a loss to counter her assertion. This Yujin Temple was the sole Taoist sanctuary in the vicinity, perched on the city's outskirts. With no alternatives in sight, Fangwen was cognizant of the circumstances. Although he had never set foot there, he scratched his head and chuckled, if you hold belief. There is indeed some merit to it. Ha. Observing her son's sincerity, Fang Ma discreetly stowed away the charm and casually passed another talisman to Fang Pa, who was smoking nearby. Here, take this talisman your son requested. Fang Pa cast a casual glance at the item before nonchalantly tucking it into his pocket. Observing that his parents had stowed away the talismans, Fangwen returned to the ancestral home in Xishan. As she watched her son depart, Fang Ma voiced her apprehensions, expressing, This child spends all his days in the old house, engrossed in sacred texts and drawing symbols, and now he has succumbed to such beliefs. Xiao, when is a university student? Hong Shan. Why not assign him some responsibilities at the village committee? Fang Hongshan took a slow drag from his cigarette and replied, Let him indulge in some light-hearted literature. We could deliberate on it after the new year. Oblivious to his parents' concerns, Fangwen had originally planned to deliver a few talismans to Shi Tao and his father, but reconsidered. Not everyone shares such convictions, and he was reluctant to become an object of mockery for Shi Tao. Perhaps there would be a more opportune moment to present them later. Upon arriving at the venerable abode, he unfurled the Taoist canon and delved into its profound depths, seeking the subtle and the enigmatic. In the morning, he contemplated the profound meanings embedded within the scriptures, whilst in the afternoon, he meticulously sketched intricate symbols. By evening, he partook of a bowl of ethereal spring water, channeling his energy back to its quintessence. Life had unfolded in extraordinary fulfillment, and before he realized it, 10 days had elapsed. As the season of rural tourism dwindled, Shi Tao often brought a selection of dishes to the old house for leisurely conversations. Xiaowen, you are now able to draw symbols. Surely, you are making strides in your pursuit of immortality. Indeed, Fangwen replied, presenting 2 talismans as he inquired, Would you care for a protective charm? I perceive you have become quite enamored. The charms your aunt adorns herself with are not of your creation, are they? Indeed, they are. But I implore you, do not disclose this to my mother. Shi Tao erupted inerti lauter. You could easily pass for a charlatan. Once the infrastructure project reaches completion next year, we shall embark on a venture together offering local products for sale, and perhaps employing these charms to beguile a few unsuspecting souls. A spark ignited within Fong. Indeed, the sale of charms could prove to be quite profitable. In matters of finance and relationships, one cannot escape the necessity of money. He replied, I believe that is a splendid notion. Accept these 2 talismans, one for you and one for Uncle Sure. Wear them, and those who possess faith shall attain eternal life. Sure Tao accepted the 2 talismans, tucking them away with a grin. It is decided then. After the new year, do not trouble yourself with seeking employment in the city. We shall establish a shop in Dongtan. I shall promote you as a descendant of a celestial master, and we may enchant a few young ladies and elderly women. If you possess belief, there is indeed merit to it. Fong rolled his eyes. After all, he had ascended to the realm of qi transformation and spirit refinement. Although he harbored doubts regarding his abilities, he certainly was no charlatan. The 2 continued their discourse until dusk, at which point Sure Tao departed for home. Fong informed his mother of his decision to remain, opting instead to cultivate his spirit until 10 o'clock. The mountain village in early winter had descended into an unsettling stillness. Suddenly, a muffled sound shattered the tranquility. Rousing him from his reverie, he hurried into the courtyard. It emanated from the Eastern Mountain Hollow. Could those tomb raiders have returned? Since his last encounter with those outsiders at the Fortune Hall, Fong had become aware of the general's tomb's whereabouts, concealed within a hollow of the Eastern Mountain, where the malevolent energy was markedly more intense. At present, Dongtan is undergoing significant infrastructural development, accompanied by recent detonations from rock blasting. Nevertheless, the majority of the construction is nearing completion, and these muffled sounds are not emanating from Dongtan itself. It is astonishing that they have resorted to explosives to clear their path. Truly, they are a group of desperate rogues. Fong cast his gaze toward the Eastern Mountain, contemplated briefly, and stepped out of the courtyard. Despite the thick veil of night, he navigated it with ease, arriving at the Eastern Mountain in a mere half-hour. From his elevated vantage point, he concentrated intently and, as anticipated, discerned a dense, ominous aura radiating from the valley beyond, more pronounced than usual. As he approached the vicinity, he paused to observe and discovered that the left side of the valley had been blasted open, with a steady stream of dark energy seeping forth from the crevice. Why is there no uproar? Have they fled? After observing for over 10 minutes, Fong discerned only the subtle aroma of gunpowder, with no further disturbances. He stealthily approached, gazing into the fissure, and beheld several flashlights illuminating the interior, revealing a tomb. However, upon a cursory glance, it seemed merely the size of 2 modest rooms, devoid of the legendary long burial passages, with an open stone sarcophagus positioned in the center. A congregation of dark energy coalescing into malevolence. Fong furrowed his brow, perceiving a malignant force emanating from within the sarcophagus. With a flicker of thought, he enveloped himself in a golden light for protection and stepped into the tomb. There are corpses. As he approached the sarcophagus, he beheld 5 or 6 bodies sprawled upon the ground, their expressions grotesque, with 2 even rolling their eyes back in death. Having never encountered such a multitude of lifeless forms, he silently recited a calming incantation to center his spirit and gazed into the sarcophagus. Inside, the malevolent energy swirled, but upon contact with the golden light, it dissipated like snow before fire. There is no golden head either. Indeed, one should not take rumors at face value. Fong observed a headless skeleton lying within the sarcophagus, accompanied by a rusted and unrecognizable long knife, shaking his head in disbelief. These tomb raiders were likely overwhelmed by the dark energy, unable to find peace in death. Now that the malevolent force has dissipated, let tomorrow's discovery lead to the authorities addressing this matter. Feeling rather disheartened, he departed from the tomb and made his way back to the Western Mountain to indulge in a tranquil slumber. Chapter 8. The Taoist Shao. A series of unfortunate deaths have occurred at Eastern Mountain. It would be wise for you to remain at home for the next few days and steer clear of the old house. As Fong descended the mountain for dinner, he overheard the villagers engaged in fervent discussions about the unsettling events. Upon his return home, his mother insisted he take refuge within the safety of their dwelling that night. 5 lives have been lost. Earlier today, the second son of the Schur family discovered that a hole had been blasted open in the valley of Easter Mountain. When he summoned others to investigate, they unearthed a tomb. The 3 young men who dared to enter the tomb are now being transported to the hospital. It is a most eerie situation. The entrance has already been cordoned off by the police, and the city's Cultural Relics Bureau is expected to arrive tomorrow. For now, it is prudent for you to remain at home. Very well. Fong nodded in agreement upon hearing his father's narrative. The 3 young men from the village were likely under the influence of dark energy. However, with the malevolent force now dissipated within the sarcophagus, no fatalities would ensue, and they would recover after a few days' rest in the hospital. Winner, remain at home. It's Xiao Tao. I am at home. Please come in. Schur Tao entered, his face alight with excitement as he proclaimed, "Have you heard? There truly exists a general's tomb in Eastern Mountain, harboring a headless skeleton within the sarcophagus. The police even summoned me to identify the bodies. Can you fathom who they were? Those same individuals who visited the farmhouse not long ago. If it weren't for your inquiries, I would not have recalled. It appears they were tomb raiders. Their demise was gruesome. I beheld them and nearly lost my composure." "Oh dear, Xiao Tao, have you laid eyes upon them?" Fong's mother inquired, her voice laced with apprehension. "It has been nearly a month since I last saw them. Hasn't it? I spent a night at the farmhouse. They must have come to survey the area. One has also spotted them." Mother Fong articulated her persistent unease, urging, "You two should avoid venturing outside these days. It is rather alarming. What is there to fear? The police are present, and we possess our talismans." Fongwen retorted, casting a disapproving glance at Schur Tao, who was proudly displaying the sachet adorning his wrist. "Today, the police will be at the farmhouse, correct?" Fong Hongshan asked. "Indeed, representatives from both the county and the city have arrived. There is even a rather charming female officer among them. Winner, let's go take a look later. I assure you it will be thrilling." "You little rascal." Fong's father chuckled. "Certainly. Let us go see. Who knows, you might just capture her attention." Mother Fong, now emboldened, encouraged her son to behold the splendor surrounding them. Upon hearing her words, Fongwen experienced a rush of embarrassment. "Let's depart. Do not merely languish at home." Schur Tao insisted, tugging his friend towards the farmhouse in search of adventure. Within the secluded chamber of the farmhouse, 5 or 6 police officers were partaking in a meal. "Xiaoyang, tomorrow the Bureau of Cultural Relics will arrive, accompanied by 2 Taoist priests from Yuzhen Temple. You shall be responsible for their reception." "Taoists? Captain Huang, what is the purpose of their visit?" The leader, Captain Huang, responded, "The director just called, and I find myself rather uncertain." A robust man interjected, "Yang Yao, this general's tomb possesses an unsettling atmosphere. A palpable chill lingers, and 5 individuals have perished under mysterious circumstances. The forensic team was unable to ascertain the cause of death. I spent merely a few moments within and was enveloped in goosebumps. The director has summoned the priests from Yuzhen Temple. They are likely en route to exorcise the malevolent spirits. Lu Peng, given your physique, are you not merely a fa ade of strength? Shu Ye, you have yet to enter. It is truly disconcerting." "Very well, let us hasten our meal," Captain Huang interjected. "Shortly, Xiao Lu and Old Zhou will bring provisions to replace Zhang Hui and Wu Peng. You two shall stand guard for the first half of the night, while I will accompany Old Song for the latter half. Please excuse us." At that moment, Fong Wen and Schur Tao entered the private room, placing a dish upon the table. "Officer, this is my friend Fong Wen. He was the one who provided sustenance to the tomb raiders that day and inquired about the general's tomb." As Schur Tao spoke, he cast a significant glance at Fong Wen. "Oh," Captain Huang, noticing, inquired, "Young man, you seem quite spirited. Do you recall the circumstances from that day?" "I merely inquired about the rumors surrounding the general's tomb. I did not elaborate further. There were 6 individuals, and the one who spoke did not appear to be the leader. The man with the small mustache seemed to be in charge." "6 individuals?" "Indeed, there were 6. Upon hearing this, Captain Huang remarked, "Thank you, young comrade. You may resume your duties." After the 2 individuals departed, Captain Huang remarked, "A total of 5 bodies were recovered from the tomb. It is probable that one remains unaccounted for or is concealing itself nearby. This group of thieves has managed to procure explosives and may indeed be armed. Therefore, everyone must exert a greater effort this evening. Xiao Lu and Old Zhou will accompany me to Dongshan to maintain a vigilant watch. Old Zhou, you shall remain here with some men and be attentive to any disturbances in the village. As he spoke, he withdrew his phone to inform the director of the situation. What do you think of her? Is she not exquisite? Shi Tao commented, referring to the female officer as they exited the private chamber. What mischief are you two discussing? Uncle Shi, what brings you here? Shi Tao inquired with a playful grin upon spotting the village secretary. Uncle Shi, Fang Wen also extended his greetings. Captain Huang has summoned me regarding a pressing matter. You two should refrain from wandering. The village has been rather unsettled of late. Understood, uncle. Kindly inform your father to prepare a few additional dishes. With that directive, the village secretary pushed the door open and entered the private room. After casting a glance at the enchanting presence, Fang Wen lingered at the farmhouse momentarily before rising to return home. With a death having occurred in the mountains, the gossipy villagers had dispersed early. By 8 o'clock, the streets lay in an eerie stillness. The following day, Shi Tao arrived at dawn. Xiao Wen, let's go and discover what is transpiring. A crowd has gathered and is heading towards East Mountain. Fang Wen washed his face and followed him to observe the tumult. They arrived at a hollow in the mountain where several villagers had congregated and a caution tape had been strung around the grave entrance, approximately 10 meters away. Vina, Bahut. It was at this very grave entrance that I identified the body yesterday. I wonder if there truly lies a golden head within. Surely not. How can you be so certain there isn't? It's merely conjecture. Shi Tao was brimming with enthusiasm, straining his neck to peer inside. Hey, who on earth shoved me? He exclaimed as he steadied himself against the caution tape, only to be jostled by the throng behind him. Step back. Step back. A female police officer assisted him in regaining his balance. Hey, Officer Yang, what transpires within? Is there a golden head? Yang Yao pushed him back beyond the caution line and replied, Do not inquire into matters that do not concern you. Officer Yang, there have long been whispers in our village regarding a general's tomb hidden within the mountains, said to house a golden-headed general. Surely, a head-sized nugget of gold would command a substantial fortune. Yang Yao rolled her eyes and stepped aside to uphold order. Shi Tao chuckled, remarking on her aloofness. I find that appealing. Fang Wen, choosing to ignore him, recognized a familiar visage at the entrance of the grave. Isn't that the proprietor of Xianbao Studio? Could this old rascal be affiliated with the Cultural Relics Bureau? He glanced over to observe Captain Huang engaged in conversation with a middle-aged man. The captain then extended his hand to shake with 3 others, including the owner of Xianbao Studio. At that moment, a portly police officer approached Yang Yao and whispered, Yang Yao, those 2 elderly gentlemen are the Taoists from Yujin Temple? Indeed, yet they hardly seem to embody their role. Why are they not in their traditional robes? Fang Wen inadvertently caught wind of their discourse and glanced up just in time to witness Captain Huang and his companions engaged in a brief consultation. Subsequently, the proprietor of Xianbao Studio, accompanied by an elderly gentleman and a youth, advanced to enter the tomb. Chapter 9. Enchanted Artifacts, the Triad of Yin's Malevolent Convergence. Indeed, it aligns with the chronicles inscribed in the journal. However, after the passage of centuries, it has diminished in potency. Sun Tingshan surveyed the sepulchral chamber. Casting a fleeting glance at the stone sarcophagus before continuing, this general met his demise in a treasonous upheaval. His family could only retrieve the headless remains, too fearful to make the incident public, and hastily interred him. Subsequently, when his name was exonerated, the emperor graciously bestowed a gilded head to complete the body. The general's kin, apprehensive that the gold might be pilfered, implored the esteemed practitioners of the Tao to choose a suitable resting place, entombing him here. The elder, however, harbored self-serving ambitions, choosing this clandestine locale to establish a threne gathering formation, with the aspiration of transforming the general's cherished blade into an enchanted artifact. Yet, the inscriptions within the letter are nebulous. It seems the elder may have succumbed before the artifact could be fully cultivated. The note is likely authored by his disciple. And considering the passage of time, had it not been for the disturbance instigated by Wu Yu, this place might have remained enveloped in obscurity. The young man who subsequently entered, upon hearing this, inquired, "Master, is this decrepit blade truly the enchanted artifact?" Sun Tingshan furrowed his brow at this comment, but chose to remain reticent. "Brother Sun, Wu Yu is currently unaccounted for, and it is highly probable that the gilded head from the stone coffin has been seized by him," proclaimed the proprietor of Xianbao Studio, who stood nearby. Indeed, assessing the lingering Yin energy within the tomb, it is apparent that it has remained undisturbed. Wu Yu, a man of malevolent design, has exhibited no remorse since his expulsion from the sect, and has perpetrated unspeakable acts. We have traversed Peng City for several days without uncovering any leads, only to ascertain that this scoundrel covets the mystical artifact enshrined within the general's tomb. The young man chuckled, remarking, "A fool who attempts to pilfer a mere chicken ultimately loses a grain of rice. What value does a substantial gold nugget hold now? Let's take our leave, Wei Feng. The oppressive Yin energy here is stifling. We shall bide our time for a few days until it dissipates before summoning the Cultural Relics Bureau for the necessary restoration. Down in, it is highly likely that Wu Yu remains within Dakingshan. Upon your exit, confer with Captain Huang to dispatch a search party into the mountains, just to exercise caution." With that, the trio departed the tomb. "Old Zhuang, what is the status within?" Director Lin of the Cultural Relics Bureau, well acquainted with Zhuang Down in, expressed caution. It would be prudent not to enter just yet, as the darkness within is overwhelmingly profound. After this, Zhuang Down in turned to Captain Huang and revealed that one of the tomb raiders had absconded with the gilded head, and it is likely that he has not yet vacated Dakingshan. This fugitive is known as Wu Yu. "Captain Huang, I propose we initiate a search of the surrounding area to ensure the safety of the villagers." "Wu Yu, a wanted criminal?" Captain Huang's brow furrowed at this alarming disclosure. He swiftly made a call to inform headquarters of the situation and to request reinforcements. Director Lin then addressed Daoist Sun. "Daoist Sun, the farmhouse has 2 rooms available. You should return to rest. I shall join you for lunch later." "Thank you for your generosity, Director Lin." Sun Tingshan bowed respectfully and addressed Captain Huang. "Captain Huang, this Wu Yu possesses formidable skills and is quite merciless. Should you uncover any trace of him, please do inform us." With that, he took deliberate steps, guiding Zhuang Down in and Li Weifeng away from Dongshan Ao. "Old Song, please disperse the villagers. Xiaoyang, please notify the village secretary to caution the villagers against venturing into the mountains for the next few days. Old Zhou, assemble a team and proceed to Shituan to scrutinize the surveillance footage, with particular emphasis on the occurrences of the past 2 nights. The technical team will soon dispatch the fugitive's photograph to our mobile devices. Captain Huang has made his arrangements, and the members of the criminal police team commenced their duties with great urgency. Fong Wen and Shi Tao returned to the village amidst the crowd. Before they could find respite, the village committee's loudspeaker erupted with an announcement urging the residents to refrain from wandering in Dongshan and to avoid venturing out after dusk. "Shi Tao, it would be prudent to remain at home tonight. The tomb raider is likely to have escaped." "Escaped? How can you be certain?" On that day, 6 individuals were present in the Fuwa Hall, yet only 5 bodies were recovered from the tomb. If the last one did not escape, then what could have happened? Shi Tao, with a slight tremor, remarked, "Indeed. Shaowen, how did they meet their demise? Was it a dispute over the spoils? You see, when I went to identify the bodies, 2 of them still had their eyes rolled back. Curse it. Merely contemplating that sends shivers down my spine. Enough. Let us return to our tasks. Thanks to those grave robbers, our farm stay has experienced a remarkable increase in business these past few days. Given the off-season, the farm stay had retained only 2 temporary workers. Fong Wen returned home to inform his mother before proceeding to the kitchen to offer his assistance. When lunch was served, Zhuang Down failed to recognize Fong Wen. However, Fong Wen discerned an aura emanating from another elderly gentleman, suggesting he was a practitioner. The young man possessed an intriguing presence, while the old man from Xianbao Studio appeared to be an ordinary individual. In the afternoon, a convoy of armed police descended upon the village, making their way towards Dongshan, weapons at the ready. The villagers buzzed with speculation, crafting an atmosphere thick with unease. "Officer Yang, What brings such a large contingent of armed police here? Is that grave robber still lurking in the mountains? Shi Tao approached Yang Yao to inquire about the unfolding situation. Yang Yao, cognizant of the fact that Shi Tao and Fong went had crossed paths with a few grave robbers and possessed some pertinent details, chose not to withhold information. She responded, "The one who escaped is a wanted felon. You both ought to avoid wandering. He may very well be concealed in the mountains." Indeed, upon learning that it was a wanted criminal, Shi Tao's heart constricted with trepidation. "Want to return home? Return home. That scoundrel is a wanted fugitive and has laid eyes upon us. We must not permit him to infiltrate the village and jeopardize our safety." Although Fong, when felt an urge to partake in the ensuing chaos, he comprehended the seriousness of the predicament and chose to remain at home instead. Earlier that day, Captain Huang had apprised the chief of the circumstances. Upon discovering Wu Yu's identity, they verified that he was indeed a fugitive. The city bureau treated the matter with utmost seriousness, convening an emergency meeting to safeguard local security, and dispatched a specialized police unit to prepare for a search operation in the mountains. As one journeyed deeper into Dongshan, the landscape grew perilous, with steep cliffs and narrow paths traversed by villagers amidst the rampant grass and desolate trees. Captain Huang directed the village leader to enlist 3 guides, splitting the forces to initiate the search in the mountains. "Mother, where is father?" He was summoned by the village leader, who mentioned something about serving as a guide. "A guide? For the armed police? I am at a loss." Upon learning of his father's conscription, Fong furrowed his brow. "Did father take the talisman I bestowed upon him?" "Indeed, he wears it. Your father's neck is quite robust, so I fashioned a long string to secure it for him." Although Fong Lao did not particularly subscribe to the beliefs surrounding the talisman from Yuzhen Temple, he donned it out of respect for Fong Ma's sentiments, perceiving it as a manifestation of his son's goodwill. Comforted by this thought, Fong chose to remain silent regarding the fugitive, wishing to shield his mother from unnecessary distress. It was not until approximately 4 in the afternoon that Fong Hongshan returned home. "Hongshan, are you well? I heard from our son that you were assisting the armed police." "I am well. They apprehended the escaped grave robber, but he is deceased." "Deceased?" Fong inquired. "Yes, deceased. I did not witness it firsthand. Yet it was the police contingent from the village chief that uncovered the grave robber. It is said that upon their arrival, he had already succumbed to madness. Grasping a large golden head, an entity neither human nor spectral, and the armed officers dispatched him without hesitation. Good riddance. Such is the justice meted out for disturbing the resting places of the dead. At long last, tranquility shall prevail." Fong Ma poured a steaming bowl of water, encouraging her master to take a moment of respite. "Mother, I shall go lend a hand to Uncle Shi. Business has been flourishing these past few days." "Very well. Off you go." Chapter 10. Malevolent Spirits. Master Sun. While gathering vegetables in the kitchen, Fong was abruptly startled by the urgent voice of Officer Yang, as if a grave incident had transpired. "What is it? What is it?" Shi Tu emerged from the kitchen, wielding a kitchen knife, peering anxiously to ascertain the situation. He beheld Officer Yang leading several individuals, hastily transporting an armed police officer into the farmhouse. "What has happened, Officer Yang?" Zhuang Daonan inquired as he stepped out of the room. Little Wang collapsed suddenly on the way, trembling all over, his eyes rolling back, a police officer elucidated. At that moment, Sun Tingshan emerged from his room. Upon witnessing the unconscious officer, his brow furrowed. "This is malevolent energy invading the body? Could it be epilepsy?" Shi Tao interjected, unaware of the gravity of the predicament. The armed police regarded him with indignation. They were seasoned soldiers, in impeccable physical condition. Had epilepsy truly been the issue, he would not have been among their ranks. Little Wang was undoubtedly not ill, yet the sudden, fainting spell, which bore an uncanny resemblance to possession, compelled Captain Huang and the team leader to urgently seek the assistance of Master Sunday. Under the weight of their scrutinizing gazes, Shi Tao recoiled, offering an awkward smile. "I was mistaken, esteemed soldiers. Master Sun, could this malevolent energy be invading the body?" "It appears so. Please lay him down," he responded. As Sun Tingshan spoke, he extracted a yellow talisman from his pocket and began to chant incantations. Mighty North Emperor, I command you swiftly. He then affixed the talisman to the officer's forehead. Wei Feng, procure a bowl of water. I shall proceed. Shi Tao volunteered with great enthusiasm. Once the water was procured, the Taoist conjured another talisman, igniting it to create a bowl of talismanic water, which he then poured into the mouth of the unconscious officer. Ah, behold, he has ceased trembling, Shi Tao exclaimed, witnessing the talisman's immediate effect. Suddenly, several gazes were directed toward him once more. Very well, let us hasten to the hospital. After fulfilling his task, Sun Tingshan inquired, Officer Yang, did not we already perish? How could there be another injured? At that moment, Yang Yao stood wide-eyed, momentarily lost in contemplation. A staunch skeptic, she found the day's events to be utterly perplexing. Indeed, he is deceased. Yang Yao snapped back to reality, responding, I do not know. This soldier suddenly collapsed while carrying the golden head. At that instant, Captain Huang and several others entered the courtyard, bearing yet another individual. A malevolent energy invades the body. Where might this malevolence have originated? Fong Wen observed the remarkable resemblance in symptoms to those of the previous armed officer. Feeling a sense of perplexity, witnessing yet another individual rendered unconscious, Sun Tingshan persisted in his ritual of affixing talismans and administering water, swiftly arranging for transport to the hospital. Master Sun, the golden head poses a significant issue. Both soldiers collapsed upon contact with it. Captain Huang, having served as a police officer for over a decade and possessing a discerning eye for detail, found himself confronting such an uncanny situation for the first time. Where is the golden head? It remains at Dongshan. In light of potential further incidents, I have instructed several officers to stand guard and have summoned 2 Taoist priests to assess the situation. Daonan, let us proceed. Sun Tingshan furrowed his brow and guided the group towards Dongshan. The spectators, Fong Wen and Shi Tao, momentarily set aside their agricultural pursuits, blending into the throng to observe the extraordinary spectacle. Shi Jiangwo made no effort to restrain them. After all, Captain Huang and his team were contending with strange occurrences, and with the bandit leader now lifeless, he paid little attention to the 2 youth. Wonder, those venerable gentlemen might be practitioners of Maoshan Taoism. Their talismans appear genuinely potent. Shi Tao murmured from within the crowd. Did you not express a desire to learn the Tao and craft talismans? Why not become apprentices to these priests? We could peddle talismans in our shop. It would not be deceitful. Enough of that. Let's proceed, Fong Wen retorted, disinterested in the prospect of becoming a Taoist. Upon their arrival at Dongshan, dusk had already enveloped the surroundings. On an adjacent path, several police officers stood vigil, guarding a golden head carelessly abandoned on the ground. What a profound malevolent aura! Sun Laodao exclaimed in astonishment. Fong Wen pondered inwardly. No wonder the malevolent energy emanating from the stone coffin that night dissipated like a rootless reed. It appears that the origin of this malevolence resides within this golden head. Captain Huang, instruct the others to maintain their distance. After issuing the command, Sun Tingshan approached Zhuang Daonan and Li Weifeng, who had arrived at the golden artifact. Indeed, the golden head harbors a fragment of the tomb owner's resentment, transmuting it into a malevolence that invades the essence of the formation, cultivating a sinister aura over centuries. Although Wu Yu possesses some degree of cultivation, he could not withstand the onslaught of malevolence, succumbing to madness and a tragic fate. Sun Laodao murmured a few incantations before directing Zhuang Shidi, Weifeng, take a step back while I contain this object. With that, he retrieved a talisman from his robe, uttering an incantation with urgency, and affixed the talisman to the golden head. All accomplished. H.M. Sun Tingshan wiped the perspiration from his brow. His statement left incomplete as the talisman fluttered in the absence of wind, seemingly endeavoring to maintain its grasp. The spectators, perplexed by the cryptic spectacle, were nonetheless entranced. This is not good. At that moment, Sun Laodao, disregarding his sweat, reached into his robe for another talisman and affixed it onto the golden head. Master, senior brother, what is the situation? Inquired Zhuang Daonan and Li Weifeng as they stepped forward. The resentment has manifested as malevolence. For the time being, it is temporarily subdued. Weifeng, take the golden head and returned to the village with haste. Li Weifeng lifted the golden head, trembling involuntarily. Captain Huang, Director Lin. The golden head has crystallized into a manifestation of malevolence. We must identify a secure location to safeguard it and avert potential harm to others. Captain Huang appeared briefly taken aback by the term malevolence. However, Director Lin from the Cultural Relics Bureau interjected, "Let us temporarily place it in the village committee." "What is your opinion, Daoist son?" "Indeed, that shall suffice." After a deliberation between Director Lin and Captain Huang, 2 officers were assigned to guard the tomb, awaiting the formal transfer to the Cultural Relics Bureau the subsequent day. During the return journey, the captain of the Armed Police Brigade took a moment to express his gratitude to Sun Tingshan and inquired about the well-being of the 2 soldiers. "All is well. A few days of rest will be adequate for their recovery." "Thank you immensely, Daoist son." With a sense of relief, the captain gathered his team, preparing to return to the city while also bringing back Wu Yu's remains. Alas, the golden head has transformed into a malevolent force. The 2 armed police officers exhibit remarkable vigor, and considering the brevity of their exposure, the repercussions could have been catastrophic were it not for this intervention. Sun Tingshan scrutinized the golden nugget cradled in his disciple's arms, his brow creased with trepidation. These 2 talismans, meticulously crafted during his involvement in the grand ritual of Luotian, were not easily fashioned and constituted his most cherished possessions, not intended for reckless disposal. Such a substantial nugget must hold immense value. How delightful it would be to bring it home, Shi Tao exclaimed, his eyes glistening at the sight of the golden head. The malevolent aura is all-consuming. To touch it may induce fainting. Beware of being compelled to ingest talisman water. Malevolent aura? What malevolent aura? To me, it appears resplendent. Come now, let us proceed. Shi Tao, an unremarkable individual, perceived a lack of exhilaration in his surroundings and, deprived of any amusement, resolved to lend a hand to Feng one at the rustic inn. Master, what has caused the talisman to disintegrate?" As Sun Tingshan and his companions neared the entrance of the village committee, Li Weifeng suddenly uttered an exclamation of disbelief. He noticed that one of the talismans affixed to the golden head had crumbled as if it had succumbed to the ravages of time. Chapter 11. Acquired from Yuzhen Temple. "This is dire. It cannot be contained." Sun Tingshan's countenance shifted as he implored, "Quickly, unlock the door. At once." Captain Huang had already alerted the village secretary via telephone. Observing Daoist's son's anxious demeanor, he spotted the secretary approaching and hastened to retrieve the keys. The elderly secretary, having ventured into the mountains earlier that afternoon, was fatigued and had returned home for an early rest. Sensing Captain Huang's frantic state, he inquired, "Captain Huang, what has transpired now? I cannot elucidate it clearly. Simply unlock the door first." Chapter 12. Gentle breeze, brother son. Might it be that the village committee serves as a nexus of fortune? Was the recent emergence of golden light conjured by the sinister essence of the golden head? Once Feng Hongshan took his leave, Ma Chuanyi commenced fabricating a justification for the vanishing malevolent energy. Though I struggle to grasp it entirely, the malevolent essence of the golden head has dissipated, leaving behind only pure Yin energy, which is a remarkable magical artifact. Let us inform Captain Huang so that the golden head may be extracted. Upon Captain Huang's arrival and his understanding that the golden head was prepared for removal, he finally exhaled a sigh of relief. Delivering the object to the Bureau would facilitate the closure of the case. As for the subsequent handling of the golden nugget, that lay beyond the captain's jurisdiction. Chapter 13. Selling talismans New Year's Day is a celebration of modest significance, a time for familial reunions to embrace the Gregorian New Year. Around the dining table, the conversation inevitably gravitated towards familiar themes, initially broaching the eldest daughter's prospects for matrimony, followed by imparting wisdom to the youngest son. However, this occasion heralded the introduction of a novel topic, Feng Wen's employment. With the new year now behind us, the Spring Festival would swiftly approach. Having resided for half a year in the ancestral home on Xishan, it was imperative to contemplate the matter of his career. Xiaoying, do keep a vigilant eye on the city for any promising job opportunities. After the new year, let Xiaowen spend time with you. It would be advantageous for the siblings to bond together. Chapter 14. Have you sold yourself? My dear brother, I implore you, do not jest. I am but a stranger to the family residing in the Three Mountains. Wu Down harbored skepticism towards Fong Wen's assertions, firmly believing that the young man was under the tutelage of an exceptionally esteemed mentor, one of unparalleled prowess. This mentor possessed the extraordinary ability to forge talismans that had never before been witnessed. Observing the peculiar demeanor of the elder Zhuang, Fong Wen was filled with a sense of reassurance. Indeed, this creation is of my own making. Will you accept it? Yes, yes, indeed. Wu Daonan presumed that Fong Wen was hesitant to elaborate further and inquired, "What is your esteemed surname?" "There is no need for formality. I am Fong Wen." Chapter 15. Serendipity. Fong Wen. Upon concluding the call, Fong Wen rose and surveyed his surroundings, intending to discover a quaint eatery. Suddenly, a voice resonated behind him. "It truly is you, Fong Wen." "Oh, Bai Mingfang." Turning around, Fong Wen recognized his university classmate, Bai Mingfang. What a delightful twist of fate. Noticing that she was accompanied by a small girl, approximately 3 years of age, attired in a manner reminiscent of a charming little potato, he smiled and inquired, "What brings you here? Are you visiting your family?" "We are merely enjoying a leisurely stroll along the pedestrian street." Chapter 16. Acquire a few more. Is it she who insists on purchasing your antiques? Is her father, not her? Upon returning to their seats, Fong Ying's curiosity ignited as she inundated him with inquiries. "That girl appears delightful, both beautiful and elegant. Your parents would undoubtedly approve if you were to bring her home. Did you obtain her number?" "No." "What a disappointment. I shall ask for it." Fong Wen wished he could cast a spell of freezing upon his sister, but alas, he lacked such abilities. "Calm yourself, lest they mistake you for a rogue and accuse you of harassment." Chapter 17. Disrespectful. The shop's renovation was scheduled for after the new year, and Fong Wen dedicated his time at the old house in Xishan to the study of carving techniques. "Qifeng, please gather more stones." Qing Feng wagged his tail, becoming nature's little laborer amidst the snowy landscape of Xishan. After several days of experimentation, Fong Wen had nearly discerned the direction. The modified Yang pattern and Thunder pattern could merge seamlessly. However, constrained by the talisman paper's materials, the Golden Light Protective Talisman remained a single-use item, igniting upon activation and burning fiercely, proving less effective than the singular Thunder pattern. He sought further information online. Chapter 18. The New Year. I am utterly perplexed. I simply cannot fathom. The symbols inscribed on the jade tablet are excessively intricate. I am unable to decipher any of them. In the tranquil courtyard of Yujin Temple, 2 venerable Taoists were meticulously scrutinizing the protective jade talismans. Zhuang Daonan heaved a sigh and rose to prepare water for tea. "Brother, who is this distinguished figure accompanying Fong Wen? Throughout the vast expanse of Huaxia, I have yet to encounter such an extraordinary method of crafting symbols. Brother. As he placed a cup of tea before Ma Chuanyi, Zhuang Daonan observed that his brother had fallen into a contemplative silence, fixated upon the jade tablet. Brother. Good heavens! He has succumbed to obsession. Chapter 19. Class Reunion. Fong Wen, Happy New Year. How do you fare? Have you set a date for your wedding yet? Ha! That is still quite distant. I have embarked on a modest venture with friends. Let us establish our careers before contemplating marriage. On the 4th day of the Lunar New Year, Fong Wen received a call from Bai Mingfang, leaving him in a state of perplexity. Last time you mentioned having a partner. How is it that you are now prioritizing your career? Should you ascend to the role of a leader, might I then partake in the fruits of your future success? Are you available on the 6th day? I'm hosting a reunion with my high school classmates. Would you care to join us? I could introduce you to some delightful ladies. Fong Wen found himself lost in thought. Chapter 20. Recently uncoupled. Fong Wen was familiar with Song Yu, yet their exchanges had been limited to mere pleasantries. He ventured, "Do not interfere in matters of the heart. How fare you? Why did you not bring your elder along?" "My elder is in good spirits. We crossed paths at a matchmaking event, although he could be somewhat tedious and devoid of romantic charm. Are you not going to propose a toast?" Zhao Shui cast a glance at Zhao Zixuan and Su Jing as she spoke. I would not wish to overshadow Zhao Gongzi. In truth, Fong Wen was not particularly well acquainted with Zhao Shui either. Having emerged from the mountains, his singular focus had always been on his studies. Now that she had taken the initiative to evoke memories, he found himself engaging in light-hearted conversation. Chapter 21. A remarkable practitioner. What are you doing? Conduct yourselves properly. Zhao Zixuan experienced a flicker of joy upon witnessing Su Jing encircled. The moment was opportune for a valiant rescue as he advanced and pushed aside the leading young man. How dare you lay a hand on me? The young man swayed slightly before delivering a swift blow, causing Zhao Zixuan to falter. Fong Wen, who had just returned, became alert. This individual was a martial artist. Meanwhile, Zhao Zixuan found himself somewhat perplexed, taken aback before he could even disclose his true identity, confronted by an impetuous youth. He shielded Su Jing behind him. Chapter 22. An arrival. Master Zhuang, is there something urgent over the phone? Fong Wen, engrossed in the delicate task of engraving a jade tablet, had yet to respond to Zhuang Daonan's 2 attempts to reach him. Only upon completing the intricate inscription did he return the call. Nothing of great significance. If it is convenient, I would like to inquire about a matter with you. Young friend Fong, speak. Zhuang Daonan exchanged glances with Ma Chuanyi and continued, well, I have a friend who has encountered a conflict in Lian County and now lies unconscious in the hospital. I wonder if you possess any means to assist him. Master Zhuang Yu. Chapter 23. Awakening. Ma Chuanyi shook his head, stating that neither Daonan nor he had encountered the individual in question, nor would they dare to intrude recklessly. He continued, Senior brother's son, Tai Zongshan has brought a handful of unruly officials to Peng City. We are aware of their motives. They initially traveled to Lian County, presumably to pay respects at the general's tomb. However, their reckless conduct at the county club, indulging in excessive drinking, creating disturbances, and harassing women, has landed them in trouble. Sun Tingshan nodded in response. Could it be that they have provoked our young friend Fong? Indeed, Ma Chuanyi replied. The details remain unclear. It was only after receiving a call from Senior Brother Zhang of Xinyuan Temple that Daonan and I became aware of the situation. Chapter 24. Another stubborn one. That day, you have been unconscious for 3 days. Tai Zongshan was taken aback, carefully surveying the elderly and the young in the ward, unwilling to conceal anything. He recounted in detail how his son Xiaochuan and his companions had instigated trouble while imbibing at the club. After I addressed the security concerns, I lost all recollection of the events that ensued. What has become of Sun Xiaochuan and the others? Xian Qing furrowed his brow. This group had neglected their responsibilities while indulging in frivolous pursuits. He replied, they are well, merely suffering from minor injuries, due to your state of unconsciousness. The Sun family utilized their connections to transport you to Peng City. Chapter 25. The convergence of malevolent spirits Fong, when devoted an entire day to the meticulous study and creation of 18 talismans, meticulously organized into 6 sets. Each talisman was intricately inscribed with a gathering of Yin symbols, thoughtfully arranged according to the 3 talents, forming a 9-palace configuration that distilled Yin into malevolence. Although Fong, when refrained from testing their efficacy, he experienced a profound sense of satisfaction. After carefully storing the talisman paper, he proceeded to etch the jade tablets. In the span of 2 or 3 days, the Lantern Festival would arrive, providing the perfect occasion to present the jade tablets as gifts to his parents. Xiaowen, 2 police officers have arrived at our home, seeking you. Police officers? Fong Wen exclaimed, momentarily distracted from his endeavors upon receiving the unexpected news. Chapter 26. The Contest. Zixuan, please come to Peng City tomorrow. I shall personally escort you to the hospital to extend our apologies. This matter will be resolved and will not impede your career. Understood, father. What are the classmates implicated in the assault? Zhao's father responded, Zixuan, I am merely a deputy director. Were it not for the support of Su Jing's grandfather and Su Gaocheng, do you believe this could have been so effortlessly settled? Now, as you stand for both families in offering an apology, this is indeed the most favorable outcome. When someone is hospitalized as a result of violence, an explanation is imperative. Do not trouble yourself with other affairs, as they lie beyond your influence. I comprehend. Chapter 27. The young lady. Xianming was assisted into the courtyard, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, his demeanor somewhat despondent. With a grin, he clasped his fists and remarked, young friend. Your mastery of the arts is truly commendable." Xuanwei's expression morphed into a tumultuous blend of blue and red. His junior, Xianming, had attained a martial prowess that resonated with the fervor of a drumbeat, effortlessly countering the arts. He had aspired to restore his dignity and showcase that Mount Laozhan was not devoid of its champions. Yet the outcome was starkly contrary, and he felt utterly humiliated. He bowed deeply to Fong Wen, stating, "Young friend, your cultivation is profound. We are filled with admiration. Should you find a moment of leisure, I invite you to visit the Ta-Ching Palace for conversation." Chapter 28, Grand Opening. The material is indeed exquisite. It is mutton fat jade. "Sister, you possess quite a fortune," Lu Ping inquired. "Mutton fat jade? What is its value? Given its thickness and size, it should command at least several tens of thousands. However, the craftsmanship leaves much to be desired. The patterns seem rather amateurish. Did you carve it yourself? My dear lady, you have squandered such a magnificent material. I wouldn't know how to carve. It was a gift from my boyfriend." Lu Ping abruptly terminated the video call, her face radiant with excitement. "Xiao Yu, did you hear that? Several 100,000. Could it truly be worth that much?" Chapter 29, Awakening. Fireworks. A man remains youthful at heart. Shi Jiangwo took it upon himself to procure an extensive array of firecrackers, artfully arranging them upon the stone path before the shop, following a delightful cacophony of crackling sounds. The grand opening ceremony reached its jubilant conclusion. Friends and relatives meandered through the shop, before being graciously escorted by Fang Hongshan and Shi Jiangwo to a quaint farmhouse for a sumptuous meal. Zhuang Daonan, however, did not tarry for long, exchanging a few light-hearted remarks with Fang Wen before making his way back to Peng City alongside Zhuang Qingxian. "Xiao Wen, I have amassed all the pertinent information." Zhuang Qingxian remains unattached and imparts knowledge at the National Defense University. "It is time for you to seize the opportunity." Chapter 30. Engaging in wholesale, two women swiftly formed a bond, engaging in lively conversation. I recollect a time when Fang Wen, during his middle school years, surreptitiously appropriated candy from his desk mate's pocket. Upon discovery, she threatened to inform her parents. "Haha, are you aware of the mortifying incidents Fang Wen has experienced?" "Haha, what mortifying incidents?" "Ingjia, please share." Fang Ying inhaled deeply and recounted. Fang Wen was so apprehensive about the girl's family confronting him that he felt too intimidated to attend school. He persuaded his friend Shirtao to skip class, and they clandestinely roamed the mountains. Haha, it wasn't long before the teacher notified his family, prompting my father to organize a search throughout the hills. Chapter 31. Revenge. As spring graced the land, the soft melody of rain accompanied the blossoming flowers and dancing butterflies. The enchanting allure of Dakingshan was ultimately subdued by a torrential downpour, and the climate gradually began to warm. The profits from the Qingshan shop in the first month proved to be gratifying, with each brother reaping a few thousand. Fang Wen, no longer preoccupied with such trifling amounts, elevated Zhang Chunhua's salary and appointed her as the store manager, while he engaged a new waitress and adopted a more detached approach. Shirtao voiced no objections, permitting his childhood companion to indulge in his whims. His foremost concern now lay in securing a suitable wife for Qingfeng. Yet, Qingfeng appeared rather apathetic, displaying scant interest in the village. Chapter 32. Unaware of consequences the following morning, Fang Wen requested Shirtao to chauffeur him to the county town, after which he took a bus to Peng City. Upon his arrival at Minghua Community, he discovered Song Yu already waiting at the entrance. Observing her weary demeanor, Fang Wen chuckled, "Taking a day off? Indeed. You haven't had breakfast, have you? Allow me to treat you." "Certainly." The two ventured into a breakfast establishment, ordering congee and various side dishes, and Song Yu's spirits visibly lifted. "Fang Wen, I am grateful for your visit. There's no need for formalities." Chapter 33. The Accident. Fang Wen seized a sharp knife from the table and traced it across Wu Tian's outstretched finger. "Blink a few times if you wish to retain those fingers." "Oh, quite audacious, are we? Not even a flutter of an eyelash. Truly a man." Wu Tian was nearly overcome with anxiety. He yearned to blink, but found himself unable to do so. However, in moments of peril, one can often unearth hidden reserves of strength. With his eyes wide and his face flushed, he suddenly exhaled, "Ah, spare me, noble sir, spare me." Fangwen smiled. "Ah." Chapter 34. A grave concern within the Peng City Criminal Police Team. Captain Huang Onping meticulously examined the case files. Recently, a particularly grave traffic incident had transpired on Dingyuan Road, necessitating police intervention. As a seasoned detective, Huang Onping discerned numerous inconsistencies within the documentation. Firstly, the autopsy reports revealed that neither Qian Kai nor Lu Mingzhou had ingested alcohol or narcotics, thereby casting doubt upon the possibility of reckless driving. Secondly, even if reckless driving had indeed taken place, their faculties should have remained intact, and there ought to have been evidence of braking maneuvers prior to the collision. However, no skid marks were discovered at the scene of the accident. Chapter 35. Close relationships upon encountering Bai Mingfang. Song Yu was instantly enveloped in a sense of reassurance. Though Bai Mingfang may not possess the same allure as herself, the presence of her child hinted at a past marked by separation. Shi Tao, in his eager admiration, lavished attention upon both Song Yu and Bai Mingfang in equal measure. "Oh dear, the arrival of two enchanting ladies in my humble abode is indeed a privilege," he exclaimed. "Pray take a seat. Shi Xiaofang, bring forth the finest tea." Fang Ying playfully tapped him on the head, retorting, "Enough of your pretentiousness. It is evident you failed to comprehend such notions, even in high school. Now, go and prepare the meal." "Understood, Yingye," he replied. Summon your uncle. He shall conjure a delectable feast for you." Chapter 36. The Tranquil Charm. The following day, Fangwen guided Song Yu to the ancestral residence in Xishan to visit Qingfeng. Upon entering the room brimming with books, the young lady was utterly captivated. Qingfeng then unveiled his collection of small toys, the majority of which were exquisite stone carvings crafted by Fangwen, along with an assortment of trinkets he had acquired from various locales. To their surprise, a dog had developed an endearing hobby. "Qingfeng, might you share these with me? They are simply delightful and ingenious." "I long to take one home," Song Yu exclaimed, affectionately cradling the dog's head, as if she had stumbled upon a hidden treasure. In that moment, she and Fangwen finally experienced a profound connection. Chapter 37. Brother Fang. The National Defense University is located in the western district of Peng City and stands as one of the earliest established institutions in the nation. Although it does not boast a prominent reputation, its admission scores are remarkably high, exemplifying a quintessential form of understated excellence. The academic demands are considerable, and the students here are far from idle. A commitment to their studies prevails as the dominant lifestyle, some striving for scholarships, others accumulating credits, and many preparing for advanced studies. Pseudo Do, emerging from an affluent background and excelling academically, is esteemed as a paragon among her peers. Presently, she is a sophomore majoring in electronic science at the National Defense University. During the Labor Day holiday, she impulsively acquired a trivial item while on an excursion to Dakingshan with her classmates. Chapter 38. An incident occurred. At the National Defense University, the name of the Tranquil Charm has circulated among the student body. Those with disposable income eagerly acquire one to relish 15 days of enhanced learning efficiency. Less affluent students unite to share the experience through installment plans. Those in dire financial straits can only lament their circumstances, striving relentlessly in their studies. Jiang Ming, a junior majoring in surveying, hails from an ordinary background, yet has consistently excelled academically, receiving scholarships throughout his tenure. As the final examination season approached, he felt an overwhelming wave of anxiety. His apprehension arose not solely from academic pressures, but also from the prevailing circumstances at the university. Chapter 39. Healing. Major Liu. Allow me to introduce Fangwen, a young acquaintance of mine. He is a distinguished apprentice to a renowned practitioner and has come specifically to lend his assistance. After Ma Chuanyi made the introduction, Mayor Liu merely nodded, seemingly dismissive of the young Fangwen's presence. He stated, "The situation is dire. If you claim it is the result of malevolent forces, I urge you to devise a solution without delay. Hundreds lie in hospitals, and should this predicament escalate, it may become insurmountable." Ma Chuanyi responded, The two senior brothers from Xianyuan Temple will be arriving shortly. Mayor, rest assured, we shall formulate a resolution post-haste. Chapter 40. The void of Law University officials and staff members have been deployed to hospitals to attend to the students. Qin Mingyi, the principal, a man of 61 years, bore some gray hair, but following the tumultuous events of the preceding days, it had transformed entirely to white. As the leader, the overwhelming burden and pressure of such a grave incident had aged him overnight. At last, you have arrived. Pray, where is Fangwen? Qin Mingyi was already apprised of the situation via telephone, waiting at the hospital entrance beneath the scorching sun. Principal Qin, this is Fangwen, a young acquaintance of Fang. Chapter 41. The Will. By approximately 5 o'clock, the ritual altar was meticulously prepared. Fangwen had anticipated something magnificent, but after surveying the setup twice, he shook his head in disbelief. The so-called altar was merely a collection of cabinets fashioned into a modest stage, adorned with yellow cloth, exuding an unmistakable rustic charm reminiscent of a village performance. Captain Hong coordinated with the school to arrange these items, and within half an hour, the setup was complete. If there was anything truly impressive, it was the array of scripture pillars encircling the stage, which imparted a semblance of grandeur. As the wind whispered through, they swayed gently, enhancing the overall atmosphere. Chapter 42. A sin has been committed. Mayor Liu, embodying the essence of a conscientious leader, found himself beset with numerous pressing concerns, prompting him to temporarily delegate responsibilities to Director Zhou as he returned for a crucial meeting. Within the confines of the tent, Directors Wang and Zhou, alongside Principal Qin, who had just returned to the institution, gathered at the head of the table to formulate a resolution. It has now been nearly 2 days since the incident. We must expedite our efforts to reach a conclusion. I urge you all to contemplate alternative solutions. Accommodating students in the gymnasium is not a viable long-term strategy. Zhang Mingshan, having absorbed Wang Hai's observations, interjected. Given Fa Kong's encounters earlier this afternoon, it is clear that the malevolent influences permeating the school are formidable. Despite our discussions, we have yet to conceive a definitive plan. Chapter 43. Thunder from Yang. Subsequently, Fangwen scattered a collection of golden talismans upon the table. He picked up a wooden board and demonstrated, saying, "Please affix the talismans onto the board with glue." 100 golden talismans lay before them, prompting Zhang Daoming and Ma Chuanyi to gaze in astonishment. At 60,000 each, that totals an astonishing 6 million. Nevertheless, wealth was not their only criterion for measurement. They were acutely aware of the formidable power of the golden talismans. Even the few they had amassed remained an enigma yet to be deciphered. Furthermore, the art of drawing talismans necessitated tranquility and sincerity, demanding the utmost concentration. Chapter 44. No longer for sale. After a brief slumber at the hotel, Fangwen awoke to discover that it was already past 6 o'clock. With the extended daylight of summer, the sky remained remarkably bright. He approached the front desk to check out, only to be informed that he had already settled payment for 5 days. After a moment of contemplation, he dialed a number. "Boss Zhuang, the matter has concluded. I shall return home now. Please arrange for the room to be vacated." "Are you departing, young friend?" "Indeed." "Very well. I shall make the necessary arrangements." While others may have been oblivious to the underlying details, Fangwen was acutely aware that the source of the troubles lay with the Clear Heart Talisman. Chapter 45. Hospitality. In the wake of the events at the National Defense University, Fangwen came to the realization that he had become excessively exuberant and perhaps a touch presumptuous. He had believed the Clear Heart Talisman was executed flawlessly. However, unforeseen complications emerged. The repercussions on Su Dubu's disposition and the disturbance of the subterranean malevolence within the institution presented substantial risks. If these adverse effects were not swiftly remedied, the ramifications could be severe. Should a malevolent incident transpire, the responsibility would rest squarely upon his shoulders. Although he felt a pang of regret, it illuminated for Fang when the understanding that certain matters are ill-fitted for dissemination among the ordinary populace. For the common individual, such encounters could yield both beneficial and detrimental consequences, precariously balanced on the brink of ambiguity. Chapter 46. Divorce a meal extended for over an hour, during which an abundance of compliments and flattery flowed effortlessly. As the wine circulated, director Wang Hai discreetly probed into Fong Wen's lineage and mentorship. In recent days, he had meticulously scrutinized the path of this young man's life, merely a commonplace individual hailing from a modest mountain village, possessing a background devoid of any remarkable attributes. Yet, the extraordinary talent he displayed was utterly perplexing. The sudden emergence of two formidable cultivators from the Dakingshan Mountains compelled Wang Hai, the director of the Religious Affairs Bureau, to take heed. Nevertheless, Fong Wen opted to remain reticent. Chapter 47. The Origin and Development. It is I. Fong Wen chuckled softly. The young man with the golden hair was the very driver who had conveyed him to the Sei Mon nightclub on that fateful night. You, how did you arrive here? The young man, taken aback, stepped back a few paces. The traumatic events in the van had inflicted considerable psychological turmoil upon him, and it was only recently that Huang Shan had whisked them away to conceal themselves for a time before returning. Please step outside and inform Wu Tian to await my arrival. Very well. Understood, brother. The young man chuckled awkwardly before turning to depart. Hey, you coward. Chapter 48. The Gift of a Jade Token. Hero. Wu Tian, observing Fong Wen deep in contemplation, gently inquired, how shall we address Huang Mao and Wei Fenfen? Should we resort to violence? Let it be. We shall bring this matter to a close here. Fong Wen could only safeguard his family. Yet, matters of the heart are intricate and challenging to meddle with. Each individual possesses their own destiny. His elder sister had already resolved to divorce. From this point forward, they would each traverse their own paths. Qin Er-yong, in a state of delusion, could persist in his modest existence with Wei Fenfen. Fong Wen glanced at the time. It had already surpassed 4 o'clock before speaking. Chapter 49. The Wild Boar. The following day, Qin Mingyi thoughtfully prepared a cake for his beloved daughter. The gathering was comprised of merely 4 adults, exuding warmth yet devoid of vivacity. After Qin, Su had expressed her heartfelt wishes. Qin Mingyi retrieved a piece of jade from his pocket and presented it to her. Hey, Dad, is there a gift as well? Indeed, a protective jade token bestowed by a wise sage. Keep it close. It shall nurture you. Thank you, Dad. Qin Ma interjected, you old man. Do you truly place your faith in such things now? Qin Mingyi replied, in the past. Chapter 50. 1,000 pieces. The following morning, Fong Wen placed a stack of talisman papers upon the table, dipped his brush into ink, and fervently began to sketch, preparing materials for the Golden Light Formation. After approximately half an hour, he set down the brush and sauntered over to the jujube tree in the yard to take a respite. There was no urgency in establishing the Golden Light Formation. He need not exhaust himself as he had during the previous occasion. He gazed up at the jujubes, which hung heavily from the branches, capturing the light, and felt an exquisite, jade-like impression. Qin Feng, the duty of safeguarding our home is of great importance. Make certain that no one pilfers these fine jujubes. Woof woof. Chapter 51. The Damsel's Scheme. Ning Fifan sulked, her lips pursed in discontent. Fong Wen, unperturbed by her demeanor, extracted a jade token from his pocket and presented it to Tong Li, explaining, this jade token operates in a manner akin to the Golden Light Talisman. Yet it possesses the advantage of being reusable, with a requisite interval of approximately 6 months. However, should both be activated concurrently, the jade token shall forfeit its protective qualities. Thank you, Brother Fong, Master Fong, Tong Li exclaimed, his joy palpable as he meticulously scrutinized the jade token in his grasp. He subsequently produced a bank card from his pocket and remarked, the total amount is 4 million. I trust it does not cause any embarrassment to the master. Chapter 52. A grave oversight. On Saturday, Fong Wen traversed the city in Shi Tao's rugged off-road vehicle. Shi Tao had arrived to collect by Ming Fong and her child, swiftly depositing his companions at the entrance of Minghua Community before hastening away. Fong Wen turned his gaze and observed 2 young women peddling flowers at a nearby intersection. Ambling over, he spent 10 yuan to acquire a solitary rose. Minghua Community was not an affluent neighborhood, permitting unrestricted access. Upon entering, he dialed Song Yu. Before he could descend to the ground floor, Song Yu had already. Chapter 53. Struck by fate on a train journeying from Ho Ho to Peng City. Su Jing rested her chin upon her hand, her gaze somewhat adrift as she observed the landscape recede beyond the window. 2 years prior, her father had been appointed as the local governor in Ho-Hote, with her mother accompanying him to oversee domestic affairs. During the summer recess, she had spent a fortnight there, but feeling dislocated, she chose to return prematurely. After an extensive journey exceeding 10 hours, several passengers had come and gone beside her. Among them were a few self-assured young men and older gentlemen who initiated conversations, their humor. Chapter 54. The Shadow of Gold this year. The arrival of autumn coincided with the Qixi festival 3 days prior, and now, over 10 days later, the nights in the mountains had begun to bear chill. Although the jujube tree in the courtyard bore unripe fruit, its crisp and delightful taste offered a singular flavor. Fangwen resolved against selling any this year, instead gathering a substantial amount to share with his family, uncle, and Shirtao. Since bestowing protective jade tokens upon his parents, he had ceased supplying them with diluted spirit spring water. The spirit spring water was scarce, and even Qingfeng had discontinued its daily consumption. He only tended to the jujube tree when a thought crossed his mind. 1. Chapter 55. Under observation. Yuzhen Temple is an offshoot of Xianyuan Temple, where disciples are few in number. Brother Ma has diligently managed the temple for over 2 decades, bearing the dual burdens of leadership and administration. Xianyuan Temple stands as one of the 10 prominent Taoist sections. Zhuang Daonan articulated his thoughts with great eloquence, imparting some insider knowledge. However, midway through his discourse, he observed Fang Xiaoyu appearing somewhat distracted, his gaze fixated behind him. Intrigued, he turned around and was taken aback to see his daughter perched atop the courtyard wall, playfully tugging at a jujube branch and casting the unripe fruit to the ground, one by one. Qingxian, what prompted you to scale such heights? What manner of behavior is this? Chapter 56. The Retribution of Fate. At that juncture, within a chamber at the rear of Baiyun Temple in the imperial capital, a middle-aged Taoist sat before a table, suddenly expelling fresh blood from his mouth. He then collapsed backward, falling to the ground, rendered unconscious. Master Uncle! Master Uncle! Standing beside the table, the young Taoist priest swiftly aided the fallen figure, his eyes locked onto his master's lips, which continued to exude blood, instilling in him a profound sense of dread, his complexion paling in horror. Quick, someone come. Master Wang is coughing up blood. Master Wang has lost consciousness. In the adjacent room, aside from the Taoist, 2 women stood by the table. Chapter 57. A Delicacy of Meat. In merely a few days, the summer vacation would draw to a close, and the eldest sister, Fang Huiling, busied herself with the preparation of her son's enrollment documents. As a boarding student, there were numerous arrangements to be made. Thus, she directed her cousin to oversee the affairs at Qingshan Boutique. Fangwen arrived at the shop, and Zhang Chunhua, thrilled to see the long-absent proprietor, exclaimed joyfully, "Little one, we have missed you dearly. It has been far too long since you last graced us with your presence. Have you truly forgotten us? We, unfortunate souls, have been waiting and hoping, and today you have finally graced us with your presence." Fangwen smiled and replied, "Manager Zhang, your efforts have been commendable, as have those of everyone involved." Chapter 58. Save My Life. As the summer vacation drew to a close, the number of tourists venturing into the mountains had noticeably diminished. Since Daiqingshan had only recently been developed, most visitors were locals, and it was anticipated that the influx of tourists would rise again after the Mid-Autumn Festival, during the season of autumn appreciation, with agritourism entering a lull. Around 2 in the afternoon, Shirtao also arrived at Qingshan Boutique. "Flower, what troubles you? Who has wronged you? Confide in your brother, and I shall address the matter." Qiu Ping interjected on behalf of her friend. "It is Wang Dalai from the town. He has deceived Xiaohua in matters of the heart and swindled her of her money. Brother sure, break his legs and render him powerless." Chapter 59. Fortunate yet fated observing the slight redness in Su Dodo's eyes, brimming with unshed tears and devoid of any artifice, Fangwen felt a surge of concern that she might succumb to her emotions. He swiftly guided her out of the shop in search of a nearby eatery, where he ordered a refreshing beverage. With gentle inquiry, he asked, "What burdens your heart?" With her eyes still glistening, Su Do confided, "I narrowly escaped peril during my summer escapades." It became evident that upon returning home for the summer, she had spent an entire month confined indoors. One fateful day, overwhelmed by restlessness, she longed to explore the outside world and perused various travel guides, chancing upon a post that displayed captivating photographs shared by a fellow wanderer. Chapter 60. A Troubled Mind. The following day, Qingshan Boutique closed its doors before 4 o'clock, allowing everyone to return home to change clothes, gradually making their way to the agritourism site. Shi Xiaofeng and several young individuals congregated, signifying a collaborative team-building event between Qingshan Boutique and the agritourism establishment. By 5 o'clock, the dishes were elegantly presented, and by 7, the atmosphere of dining had settled into a serene calm. With only a handful of patrons remaining, Shi Xiaofeng expressed her desire to indulge in karaoke. Shi Jiangwo, having no objections, permitted the young people some leisure time. However, the town's KTV was rather modest and lacked sophistication. Thus, Shi Tao resolved to drive them to the county town for a more enjoyable experience. Chapter 61. Sharing Dates. As the autumn winds commenced their arrival, the mountains began to embrace a cooler atmosphere. Fong Wen reclined in a rattan chair within the courtyard, his gaze wandering towards the horizon where the sky arched high and the sun radiated brilliantly, casting a subtle air of melancholy over the mountains. In the courtyard, accompanied by the soft caress of the breeze, sat Su Do. Since that fateful day of the school opening when she had arrived at Qingshan Boutique in tears, she had become a steadfast figure, making her way to visit Fong Wen every weekend at Dakingshan. Initially, she would linger for half a day at the Qingshan shop. Yet upon failing to catch sight of brother Fong, she departed in disappointment. On her second visit, she began to inquire along her journey, starting from the modest shop. Chapter 62. Peach Blossom. The wood struck by lightning is a rare gem, a formidable instrument for dispelling evil and repelling malevolence. Throughout the vast expanse of his existence, Zhuang Daonan had only encountered its name, never beheld its authentic form. However, Zhuang Qingxian, raised amidst the whispers of its renown, was well acquainted with the lore surrounding the lightning wood. Casting a glance at the piece of wood in her grasp, she inquired, "Is this lightning wood?" "Indeed. Be swift in placing it down, for the malevolent energies may take root upon you." Upon hearing this, Zhuang Qingxian cast the lightning wood into the timber pile, exited the kitchen, and asked, "Are those by the wall all lightning wood?" "Yes." Chapter 63. A new edition. As autumn arrives, the days diminish, and the sun descends with increasing swiftness. After a leisurely promenade around the mountain, Song Yu and Su Jing returned to the Qingshan shop, engaging in delightful conversation with Fong Ying and Fong Huiling for a while before embarking on their journey back to the county town. Lately, Fong Wen seldom frequents the shop, nearly forgetting the benefits associated with the Mid-Autumn Festival. He reached out to his elder sister, requesting her to confer with Zhang Chanhua to assess the sentiments of others regarding the distribution of either cash or gifts. In the end, they concluded that cash would be the more pragmatic choice, and Fong Wen allocated 500 yuan to each individual. Zhang Chanhua, filled with elation upon receiving the funds, called in a state of excitement, celebrating alongside Qiu Ping and exclaiming in admiration of the magnificence of Xiao Wenguo. Chapter 64. A Call for Master Chun. The Jade Talisman is not as wondrous as one might presume for addressing infertility. According to Qin Mingyi, her daughter is plagued by a deficiency of vital energy and a weakened spleen and stomach, which has impeded her capacity to conceive. The yang gathering symbols etched upon the Jade Talisman have gradually enhanced Qin Su's constitution over the past 6 months, rendering her form more ample and vigorous. It is not that her body was inherently incapable of bearing offspring. With her foundational conditions ameliorated, conception would naturally ensue. Fong Wen began to comprehend the situation and could not help but marvel at the unique enigmas surrounding both the Yin and Yang talismans. Chapter 65. Do not touch the tiger's tail. Numerous train services connect Peng City to the capital. Fong Wen procured a ticket for a train departing around 9 in the morning, which would take approximately 3 hours, enabling him to arrive just in time for lunch. As a mature man, he carried little with him, merely a suitcase predominantly filled with 24 talismans for exorcism. His intention was to purchase wedding attire upon reaching the capital, thereby avoiding the inconvenience of transporting it back and forth. At around 8 o'clock, Shirtao drove him to the high-speed train station. When? You should survey the area first. When I marry and embark on my honeymoon, I will take my Ming Fong to explore the capital as well. Explore what? Chapter 66. The capital undoubtedly fulfills its esteemed reputation as a vibrant metropolis, teeming with visitors from every direction. Fong retrieved his suitcase from the train, skillfully maneuvering through the bustling crowds. Upon his exit from the station, he was met with a vast expanse of travelers. The principal thoroughfare outside offered little opportunity to admire the station, which elegantly fused a variety of architectural styles. Fong, when summoned a taxi, conveyed the address to the driver, and embarked on his journey to the hotel he had reserved. Young man, are you here for tourism in the capital? Indeed I am. Chapter 67. Trapped. Confirmed. From a neighboring abode, a figure emerged, evidently alerted by the tumult. A middle-aged Taoist priest. However, as he stepped forth, he found himself ensnared. For two additional figures materialized in the courtyard. After a brief interlude of anticipation without further arrivals, Fong Wen could not restrain a shake of his head. If even these two Taoists were unable to evade the immobilization spell or liberate themselves, it was clear they were not formidable practitioners. Rising to his feet, he advanced and surveyed the two chambers, casting a spell to rouse the two men. He then proclaimed, "Listen attentively. Shortly, I shall liberate you." Chapter 68. Who recognizes who is the dog? Soon, a man was borne into the rear courtyard by 4 or 5 Taoists, his neck stiff. This was the middle-aged gatekeeper. Master Uncle, Old Wu must have fallen prey to dark sorcery. Could it be that malevolent forces have infiltrated our temple? Zhou Jiming ventured into the chamber to express his unease. Enough, Jiming, stay. The others may depart, instructed Qiu Shengyue, dismissing the remaining Taoists while retaining only Zhou Jiming and Yun Langkong. He then turned to Fong Wen and implored, Old Wu is merely an ordinary man. I humbly beseech you to show mercy and refrain from holding this against him. Chapter 69. The White Cloud Formation Unraveled. Xian Jun chuckled awkwardly. Brother, you have misunderstood. I am indeed unaware of Ming Li's inquiry regarding divination. As for the young friend Fong, I have not had the pleasure of meeting him before. Earlier this year, my fellow disciples Xian Wei, Xian Ming, and Xian Xing traveled to Peng City on business, where they had a minor altercation with a young friend Fong. It was Brother Zhang Mingshan from Xuanmiao Temple who intervened, thus transforming conflict into harmony. Young friend Fong possesses extraordinary abilities and profound skills, his master a reclusive sage, elusive as a dragon, whose golden talisman shines with unparalleled brilliance. My fellow disciples and I have pondered over it for some time, yet it remains an enigma, truly a rare talent to behold. At this moment, Xian Jun felt no need for concealment, as Fong Wen had already. Chapter 70. The Sword Immortal. After extensive reading and traversing vast distances, encountering innumerable souls, Fong Wen arrived uninvited early the following morning. The elder gatekeeper, Old Wu, bowed with reverence and gestured for him to enter, having taken a day to recuperate at home, allowing his wife to soothe his aching neck. He returned to his post that morning, instructed by the superintendent to treat any young visitors from the previous day with the highest courtesy. Unbeknownst to Old Wu, Fong Wen's true identity was shrouded in mystery. However, his esteemed position at the gate suggested profound connections and astute perception. Chapter 71. It is he. Please wait a moment. Upon noticing Fong Wen's entrance, Qiu Xingyue exchanged a few words with the two women before rising with a warm smile. Ah, my dear friend Fong, please take a seat and enjoy some tea. I shall join you shortly. Ha, there's no need for that. I have come to bid farewell to Taoist Qiu. The elder Taoist appeared somewhat taken aback and responded, You wish to depart? Have we fallen short in our hospitality? The two women beside them exchanged surprised glances, astonished by the young man's unexpected intrusion and his attire, which bore no resemblance to that of the temple's Taoists. Yet, Taoist Qiu extended such courtesy, even addressing him as a friend. Chapter 72. raising dogs in the Great Green Mountain. Once aboard the carriage, Fong Wen cast a glance at Yun Langkong, amusement glimmering in his eyes. As a fully ordained member of the Chuanjin sect, he was indeed squandering his striking appearance. "Take me here. Please provide the address of the restaurant." Yin Langkong started the vehicle and navigated towards Baxi. Although the distance was not great, the heavy traffic during rush hour delayed their arrival near the restaurant until 6:30, prompting Song Chunxing to make several calls in rapid succession. "Oh dear brother, I have long awaited your esteemed presence," Song Chunxing exclaimed, shivering at the entrance of the restaurant. Upon noticing Fong Wen's approach, he continued, "What brings you to lurk around here? Feeling a bit down? Steady yourself, don a brave facade. How can one enter a treasure trove empty-handed?" Noticing his good friend alone in a corner, Song Chunxing felt a pang of disappointment. "What brave facade? Mind your own affairs and hasten to revel in your own pleasures." "Huh, what pleasure? I wander through a garden of blossoms, yet not a single petal graces my presence. Just you wait." Observing Fong Wen's lackluster demeanor, Song Chunxing assumed he was disinterested in the aspiring artists surrounding him and felt a twinge of embarrassment, redirecting his gaze towards Wen Kai and his companions. Huang Linghui's arrival captivated the majority of attendees at the venue, momentarily pausing the entertainment upon the stage. Fong Wen gently tapped the shoulder of a dashing gentleman nearby and inquired, "Who is that individual? I have not encountered him before. He must be a person of significance." The handsome man nodded, examining Fong Wen, yet he failed to recognize him. "She is a leader from the general administration. I spotted her at a banquet once. Her surname appears to be Huang." An elderly gentleman standing nearby interjected. Jiangzi, attired in formal clothing, trembled from the chill after remaining outdoors for an extended period. She yearned to enter, yet a cadre of prominent individuals obstructed the entrance, inducing a sense of trepidation within her. She recognized the dashing man as a former classmate of Song Chunxing, who had accompanied the gathering to partake in the celebrations. Unable to endure the cold any longer, Jiangzi clenched her teeth and resolved to seek out Fong Wen. However, before she could reach him, she noticed Zhong Xiaojia approaching with great fervor, her expression taut and deliberately ignoring Jiangzi. "Xiaojia, what troubles you?" "Umph." Within the venue, Jiangzi's curiosity regarding Fong Wen's identity intensified. Just moments prior, Huang Huiling had consumed 3 glasses of liquor in rapid succession, astonishing those in her vicinity. Some acquaintances of Jiangzi approached her to extend their greetings. Seizing the opportunity to engage with Fong Wen, "Brother Fong, do you know Boss Huang?" Wen Kai had been closely observing Huang Huiling's actions and desired to converse with her, but had yet to find an opportune moment. Noticing that a classmate brought by Song Chunxing was conversing with Huang Huiling, he smiled and addressed him as brother. "Brother Fong, are you currently in the capital?" "Indeed. What brings you to the capital?" "I am attending a classmate's wedding." Su Daodu, upon learning of Fong Wen's presence in the capital, immediately initiated a video call, her excitement palpable. With a cheerful tone, she continued, "Hee, I will be there too, so please wait for me." With that, she concluded the call. Song Chunxing, upon overhearing Su Daodu's conversation, smirked and remarked, "Girlfriend? Such an endearing term. Brother Fong. Why not refer to him as Brother Wen?" Chapter 78. Such a scoundrel. The bar was bustling with activity. The patrons primarily comprised regulars who came to indulge in drinks and revel in music, alongside a multitude of visitors lured by its esteemed reputation, predominantly young couples. The stage was outfitted with a drum set, bass, and guitar. According to Shi Tao, Yu Yao held a notable position in the rock scene, occasionally inviting distinguished personalities from the industry to perform. However, much like the literary realm, those within the music sphere were equally disdainful of one another. Yu Yao was well acquainted with the chronicles of the rock community, while Fong Wen spent the evening engrossed in gossip, including scandalous revelations about legendary rock musicians and their tumultuous existences. Chapter 79. I sleep next door? In the modest lounge, one table was occupied by youthful patrons, while another was graced by older gentlemen. As the overseer, Wang Manjun delegated tasks to his companions. Uncle Wang, a close confidant of Song's father, had once been a street urchin, engaging in minor thievery during his youth. Ultimately, they all embarked on distinct paths. Wang Manjun, ever ingenious, had ventured into a myriad of enterprises, ranging from a middleman to a developer, and in recent years, he had embraced the entertainment sector as a producer. Song Chinxing frequently lamented that his father was a squanderer, and in comparison to Uncle Wang, he had indeed made scant progress, nearly dissipating the family fortune. Chapter 80. A Hidden Beauty. Early the following morning, Fong would emerge from his chamber to discover Su Daodu still in slumber. He ventured outside to assess the weather. The sun was ascending, and the atmosphere was pristine and free from pollution. An exquisite day indeed. He took his seat in a modest pavilion nestled in the courtyard, savoring the rare serenity that enveloped him. Soon, a gentle breeze wafted through, and a few sparrows alighted among the trees, chirping momentarily before darting off in search of sustenance. "Brother Fong, you're awake. Allow me to prepare breakfast for you," Su Daodu exclaimed, bounding towards him with a radiant smile. "Can you cook?" he inquired. "Not at all." Chapter 81. Homeless on the streets. "Auntie, I encountered Daodu's boyfriend. He was rather impolite, and I dismissed him," Su Pingchuan grumbled nearby. "Daodu appears somewhat troubled. Please converse with her. I regard him as nothing but a pretentious charmer, Auntie. Rest assured, once I unveil that young man's background, I shall ensure he faces the consequences." Just as he concluded his statement, Su Daodu burst through the bedroom door, tears cascading down her cheeks. "You know nothing. Cease your utterances. I hold affection for Brother Fong. If you frighten him away, what shall I do?" "Boo-hoo." Su Hongyu endeavored to comfort her. "Daodu, I perceive Fong went as a capricious libertine." Chapter 82. Call me Aunt. A crowd had amassed at the entrance, encircling a crimson sports car, gesturing and engaging in animated discussions. Fong went alighted from the vehicle and, upon spotting Su Daodu amidst the throng, furrowed his brow. "Wenzi, what transpires? Did you not mention that Daodu's car was an operative?" Song Chinxing, patting the sleek automobile that had just arrived, grinned. "This one is quite commendable as well. Wenzi, have you had a disagreement with the charming Su? You appear somewhat unsettled this morning, as though you have summoned the parents." He then cast a glance at Yin Langkong, who was chattering incessantly. Chapter 83. The fortunate Wan Lin Zi nestled into the opulent supercar, her countenance aglow with joy as she regarded the gentleman at the helm. "My dear wife, is it not magnificent? This vehicle belongs to Wenzi's beloved. The young man has indeed struck gold by aligning himself with a woman of considerable means. Are you aware of the price of this automobile? 100 million. Truly? Indubitably." Overwhelmed with astonishment, Lindsay extended her hand to caress the car's exquisite interior, exclaiming, "I never anticipated that Wenzi possessed such prowess. Would you contemplate courting a lady of affluence? Hee, I have missed my chance. I shall bestow that opportunity upon you." The newlyweds basked in their bliss within the confines of the sports car. Chapter 84. The rustic villager with the nuptials concluded. Those destined to depart had taken their leave, while those who were to remain lingered. A few youthful gentlemen, enjoying a moment of leisure, returned home to initiate a card game, their laughter and conversation intertwining as they played. As twilight descended, Mama Song orchestrated a lavish feast, and Papa Song partook in a few libations. Following the repast, children from the alley descended upon the gathering, creating a delightful commotion, eager to glimpse the new bride. Once all was in order, when engaged in conversation with Papa and Mama Song for a time before preparing to take his leave, Wenzi, after being so occupied for days, "I have yet to escort you around. With the New Year's festivities on the horizon, allow Chinxing and Xiaotian to show you the sights. There is no need to hasten your return." Chapter 91. All say dun halt. "Xiao Fong, please hold on." "Brother Fong, have I erred once more?" Fong found herself ensnared by Su Do, feeling a sense of helplessness. Neither chastising her nor retaliating appeared suitable. The world was expansive, and even the immortals would find it daunting. Aunt Su rose with a smile, addressing Xiao Fong. "It is my fault. My inquiry into your background arose from a genuine affection for my daughter, devoid of any ulterior motives. Just look at the turmoil this has incited." Chuanping hastened to apologize to Xiao Fong. Second, Su Hongyu, ever perceptive, discerned her brother's earlier demeanor and recalled that. Chapter 86. Boundless Fortune. "What is this? Willpower. What Fong Wen witnessed was an interminable expanse of white willpower, surging like an ocean, crashing against his primordial spirit. His essence resembled a solitary vessel, tossed and turned amidst the colossal waves, precariously swaying on the brink of capsizing. Were this the extent of his tribulation, Fong Wen might still manage to endure. However, the multicolored aura manifesting above him surged with overwhelming force, descending like a mountain, constricting his breath, as his spirit felt as though it were on the verge of fragmentation. Chapter 87. Go with the flow. Upon returning to the apartment, Fong Ying prepared 2 bowls of noodles. Xiao Wen, after your prolonged stay in the capital, are you contemplating a life of wandering? A wanderer? I was born a child of the Great Green Mountain, and shall die as a spirit of the Great Green Mountain. Fong Ying chuckled. Are you intending to dwell in the old house in Xishan for eternity? Why not? That seems agreeable, but what of Song Yu? Will she accompany you in embracing the life of a village wife, watching over you as you delve into those worn Taoist manuscripts? Fong Wen savored a clove of garlic and laughed. Marry a chicken, follow a chicken. Marry a dog, follow a dog. Let us withdraw to the mountains, living as an ethereal couple. Chapter 88. Culinary Endeavors and Household Tasks. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Fong Wen arrived at the farmhouse, where his elder sister and Zhang Chunhua were already seated and awaiting his arrival, accompanied by several waitstaff, including Shi Xiaofang. Zhang Chunhua expressed her sentiment that reluctance to eat is a sign of a troubled mind. A lively group soon engaged in merriment, and around 7 o'clock, they set off for the county town to sing. Shi Xiaofang, a young woman who had previously worked in the county, had heard that the Royal Court Night Banquet was the most exquisite entertainment venue in Lian County, and she was determined to experience it. Zhang Chunhua, full of life and exuberance, eagerly joined in, creating a cheerful commotion, and thus the group hastened to the entrance of the Royal Court Night Banquet. Chapter 89. Attaining Triumph. Captain Tong seized the opportunity, relishing a sumptuous repast at a rustic farmhouse, cultivating camaraderie without causing much disruption, and soon took his leave. Upon returning home, Fong's parents inquired about how their son forged a friendship with Tong Li and his associates. Fong Wen chuckled. I crafted a few talismans for them. Do these retired soldiers genuinely place faith in such matters? Surely the distant monks recite their scriptures. Did you not hear them refer to me as Master Fong? Fong's father laughed heartily. Having perused a few tomes, you deem yourself a master? My dear one, passions are one thing, but do not mislead others. Fear not, father. Chapter 90. A Mutual Exchange. Qin Mingyi and Lin Huifeng had scarcely settled for an hour before taking their leave, with Fong's parents bidding them farewell with warmth. In the span of 2 days, 3 groups of visitors had graced the household, yet their son remained at the ancestral home, leaving them bemused as to how he had cultivated such friendships, particularly with the esteemed Principal Qin, which instilled a sense of pride in the elderly couple. After the Qin family departed, it was well past 4, and Fong Wen made his way to the Qingshan shop to deliberate on the New Year's benefits to be distributed. Each individual would receive 500 yuan, along with provisions of rice, flour, and oil, which elicited great joy from Zhang Chunhua and the others as they engaged in cheerful banter. Fong Huiling, too, had weathered the storm of a divorce. Chapter 91. A Bow of Respect. As the flames danced, casting away the remnants of the old year, I embraced the arrival of spring. The following day, while perched upon a modest stool to replenish the firewood, Fong Wen felt a surge of inspiration and crafted a couplet, eager for Qing Feng's esteemed evaluation. Just then, he heard his elder sister's voice calling from outside. Little one, Qing Feng, come forth to welcome our guests. Hearing this, Qing Feng wagged his tail and bounded out of the courtyard, joyfully circling Fong Ying as he carried in the items that had been unloaded. Little one, this fruit is from Xiaoyu. Where is our mother? Mother is inside, kneading dough. And our father? Chapter 92. Missed Youth. On the 6th day of the new year, the gathering of classmates was marked by a palpable indifference towards the absence or presence of individuals. The passage of 3 years without visitation had rendered once familiar bonds somewhat tenuous. Certain relationships had withered under the weight of neglect. Song Yu arrived at Dakingshan around 10, resplendent in her attire. The adage that a woman adorns herself for the one she cherishes rang true. However, Fong Wen was taken aback to see her in the company of Su Jing. "Fong Wen, Happy New Year!" Su Jing exclaimed, unloading an array of gifts from the car. "Did you not attend the class reunion?" Chapter 93. As boss Zhou Song Yu descended the mountain alongside Fong Wen, a profound emptiness enveloped her heart, compelling her to stifle her tears. Beneath the facade of joy resided a stark reality. She had arrived with exuberance only to depart in a state of despondency. Su Jing awaited at the entrance of the farmhouse, and, upon noticing Song Yu's reddened eyes and grave demeanor, was taken aback. "Xia Yu, what transpired?" "It's nothing. Jing, let's be on our way." Su Jing, casting a curious glance at Fong Wen, inquired, "Did you two have a disagreement?" "No. It is growing late. You ought to return swiftly." Chapter 94. Let us begin. The trio engaged in delightful conversation atop the rooftop, primarily indulging in light-hearted repartee, recounting humorous anecdotes from their campus days and narratives from the mountainous regions. Shi Tao regaled them with tales of the wild boars that roamed the depths of the western mountains, stirring Su Jing's curiosity and igniting her yearning for adventure. "Haha, if the enchanting Su wishes to embark on this journey, it is a mere trifling matter. We can invite Qing Feng to accompany us and meander together when time allows. I've heard wild boars can be quite formidable. Even tigers dare not confront them." Shi Tao chuckled. "Fear not. With Qing Feng by our side, wild boars stand no chance. Beneath the paws of a dog, they are destined for demise." Su Jing had previously encountered Shi Tao's mother during a meal at Fong Wen's residence. Chapter 95. Off to battle. "Shi Tao, what troubles you today? You appear quite despondent. Have you not heard?" "Heard what?" Following a bustling evening, the two brothers sought solace on the rooftop, partaking in a drink. Fong Wen sipped delicately, managing only a modest cup and a half. Shi Tao indulged somewhat more, consuming several cups to ease his throat. However, today he exhibited an unusual gloom, drinking persistently. After downing yet another cup, he disclosed, "My mother has returned." "Your mother?" Shi Tao's mother had departed with another man many years prior. Chapter 96. A dark and windy night. Shituan is a quaint mountain village with a sparse population. Aside from those who toil elsewhere, only around 30 young adults congregated at the quarry. Opposite them stood a dozen sturdy men, reinforced by an influx of laborers, temporarily diminishing the villagers' morale. "Hey, quite audacious, aren't we?" Shi Tao exclaimed, brandishing a kitchen knife and stepping forward with a fervent spirit. The elderly party secretary knitted his brow. It had been years since any violent confrontations, and in his youth they had faced rival villages armed with hunting rifles. In contrast, this appeared to be merely a trivial skirmish. Chapter 97. Complimentary food and beverage. Tomorrow heralds the arrival of the Qingming Festival. My sister has called to inform me that she is required to work overtime and will not return home for the holiday. Fong Wen, reluctant to unveil her situation, chose not to inform their mother, opting instead to take the call himself to avoid unnecessary commotion. "Xiaowen, is there a discord between you and Song Yu? The last occasion I invited her to dine, she appeared rather unenthusiastic. Do not fret. Have you dispatched the cigarettes and tea our mother entrusted to you?" "Ha ha ha. Indeed, the net has already been cast. I am prepared to sacrifice my dignity for this endeavor, for it may well dictate my lifelong happiness." As she continued to speak. Chapter 98. Contracting. Esteemed senior brother, I have conducted a thorough examination of the quarry owned by Master Zhou. The steel-roofed dwelling where the deceased resided appears unremarkable. The surrounding landscape is comprised of desolate mountains, and I have encountered no signs of malevolent spirits or curses. To the east lies a burgeoning tourist attraction, teeming with visitors, and devoid of any ominous portents. Logically, there should be no cause for alarm. F.A. Ming conveyed his observations. While the Western Mountains may not be a site of extraordinary fortune, they similarly do not harbor any sinister energies. The malevolent aura that Fong, when once possessed, has long since dissipated, and it is entirely reasonable that F.A. Ming detected nothing out of the ordinary. F.A. Kong then interjected. Master Zhou noted that 2 workers at the quarry met with sudden demise. Chapter 99. Troubling Times. Zhou Lihao commanded his subordinates to confront Shirtao, while the villagers of Shituan, both young and old, were understandably reluctant to acquiesce. Armed with no tools, they resorted to picking up stones and throwing them haphazardly. Meanwhile, Fong Wen squinted. Having caught the monk's attention, their eyes locked, and he raised his arm, making a decisive gesture across his throat. Fa Ming felt a tremor course through him, as an unsettling sensation took root in his heart. This was no innocuous setting, and this young man, Fong, was undoubtedly no ordinary individual. Nevertheless, the monk exhibited admirable meditative prowess and intoned a phrase of reverence. Amiba, Master Zhou, let's bring an end to this discord. Chapter 100. A Pact of Half a Century. Ma Quan-yi took pleasure in the misfortune, yet as a fellow practitioner hailing from the same region of Peng City, and with this matter intricately linked to Fong, he dared not exhibit negligence. He solicited the contact information from his junior, Zhuang Daonan, and conveyed it to Fa Kong. Thank you, Brother Ma. In light of the pressing circumstances, my junior and I must not tarry. We shall convey our gratitude during our next visit. Certainly. Ma Quan-yi escorted the two out of Yujingguan, chuckling as he retrieved his phone to call Zhang Mingshan. Upon their return to Guangqing Temple, Fa Kong and Fa Ming had scarcely settled when a disciple arrived to inform them that the benevolent Zhou Lihao sought to pay his respects to Fa Kong.